Hey, we are live
It could happen.
on for the Obelisk Blue second tournament for Go format. With me, I've got Maskis, Lucas Gustafsson, and Gate Guardian 44 from Gate Expectations and his channel. I'll let him plug that at
Thank
the
you for
end.
having Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it being back on.
So, the first game I'll get started in a minute. Who do you think's going to win? We've got KL 1993. We have Delicious or Frobusha. Civetta or Kivetta. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. And Mobius. And the only person I really heard of before this was Dill. So these are all relatively new players. I mean, I think I've seen KL a couple of times before, but
Yeah, I was gonna say KL is a bit of a name in my opinion. He has been playing in a few GFCs, and he used to play on Dueling Book quite a bit, and I think on the ladder he has close to like 75% win rate with like 400 matches played or something. So that's very impressive. So I would probably bet on KL, but you know it's a card game, anything can happen.
of course, Maskius.
I mean, KL, I'm pretty sure KL 1993, the top four, or maybe even top two, came second in the GFC last year. So, I think smart money would be on him if he's a favorite going into it. But I don't know. Anything can happen, you know. we've seen a lot of stuff happen last year. Like the last Obelisk Blue, the bounty one. I mean, he came back from losers bracket, so we might see something like that again.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll quickly find the challenge and put that up on stream so people can see the bracket, because the half of this tournament has, of course, already been played. So here we are. KL in winners bracket and Civetta in winners bracket, and then Dill and Mobius in losers. So that's where we're at. Everyone who plays in these tournaments, I know it looks like an 8-man double elimination, but they have put in a tremendous amount of work to get to this point. They've had to win multiple tournaments in succession in order to be in this top four. So, is there anything anyone wants to say before I start them off on their first game?
I want to see. Here's what I want to see happen. I want to see KL make it to the grand finals here, and then I want to see in the losers finals Savita and Dill. And I don't know who's going to win that one, but I just want to run back of that round two matchup
Okay.
here. That is my official
Expectations.
prediction.
I think you're totally right. By the way, I endorse that. I think in this first game we're gonna have Civetta versus KL, and random game, and I think KL is probably gonna win it. But it's like you say, anything can happen, and this is actually Civetta's first obelisk, so or I think it's her first tournament in general. To be honest, I don't know.
I feel like I've seen their name around, at least in Go format, or
really?
some other places, but the name looks familiar, but I haven't actually seen them play. And I guess we'll get to see them now.
Yes, the game is live. For the rest of you, if you want to watch, they're in rock paper scissors, to which KL has just won.
So KL has a history of playing Burn, but I've also faced them when we were using Chaos Turbo. So it's going to be interesting to see what we're bringing.
Well, they're bringing Pot of Greed.
As is almost everybody.
Yeah, so statistics came out from the last GFC, and a card that was in everybody's main deck, or everybody's deck in general, was the Heavy Storm, Pot of Greed, and Graceful Charity. I think like 100% of decks ran those three cards. There was
Cool.
a 40 something or 139 players in that tournament. So Injection Fairy Lily is a good card.
Yeah, and it's a bit unusual, right?
Yeah, not a lot of people are playing this one, but
I have a
It's
theory.
pretty good.
Maybe it's a cat deck, and we're playing like Giant Rat.
that is
It's
quite
something we
possible.
Yeah, it's something we didn't see at GFC 11 last week. There, the injection fairy lily, and not to mention like when you have like any kind of recruiter like a Mystic Tomato or Shining Angel, kind of ramming into it. Like both players are exchanging 2000, so and that was very prevalent that tournament. So you gotta wonder if it's really going to see play just because of the popularity of those kinds of cards.
Well, here it comes. It's again swinging for 34. Probably not, because Scapegoat's going to block it. Kale's going to let all 4 go through. So this could be a burn kind of strategy, right? Because they want to keep all these tokens on the board so that Secret Barrel or Just Desserts deals like a bajillion damage.
Yeah, it could be, definitely. I think that's very possible, that it's some burn deck featuring Giant Rat and such.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they've all played in the tournaments, but I, for one, can't remember who's played what. They all should be familiar with each other's decks by now. But like I said, I've long since forgotten. I'm pretty sure they wouldn't have forgotten. But Civetta and KL know what they're getting themselves into for sure.
Enemy Controller. Cool tech from Civetta. Good to take
Another
control of
card we
injection
don't see
very
every
early.
day.
See if maybe we tribute it off? Or I guess we could try to attack the 34 first. Then maybe tribute it off or something.
I would definitely try to attack it and try to bait it out and think about maybe using a Sakuretsu or a Mirror Force. You know, you really get some utility off by attacking first, especially if you can use the effect and score some extra damage before you tribute it off. Unless it's an
Yeah.
Air Knight Part Shot or something, 100% I would attack.
Could we see a Metamorphosis here? Because I think level 3 Dragon, whatever it's called, is pretty
Uh,
good
Like a
against
knight.
a burn strategy, running perhaps Gravity Bind, Messenger of Peace, level limit area B.
Yeah, interesting theory. I'm not sure if that's the way it will go, but I don't think it's the kind of play Civetta would make. Let's put it that way. Oh, but I could be wrong. Who knows?
I don't think you want to give it back.
True.
So did we just use the enemy controller to get space?
That might be possible, but I mean, before enemy controller resolves, it's going to use just desserts. Deal 25, and then another
Oh,
25.
wow.
Any current card now is lethal.
Okay, so I think KL's got this one.
Looking good.
And
Yep,
there it
there we
is,
go.
Secret Barrel. So, unless there's some kind of Pikaru's magic circle.
Yeah, that's a very quick round 1 for.
Kale didn't
Kale,
even use the effect of the injection fairy lily either.
Yeah, no. I wonder if maybe it was a slight misstep from Civetta to trade 2,000 of their life for 3,000 of 1993's life.
Yeah, especially with no follow up. I don't know why you would want to do that.
Anyway, so we haven't seen exactly what kind of burn deck KL is playing. If it's more of a burn oriented deck or if it's more of a prison style deck.
What style deck?
Prison.
Prison. Okay.
I don't know the Yu-Gi-Oh term so well. To try and shut down the opponent rather than burn them out very fast.
I think Civetta didn't know what KL was playing, considering that you use the 2,000 pay 2,000 life points to activate Lily's effect. I mean, typically you don't want to be draining your own life points against a burn deck. He just put it a quarter of the way there for KL by using Fairy Lily's effect. So I think he knows better now, and perhaps he's going to take that into the next game, knowing that what kind of deck he's up against. Because I think the 2 Just Desserts and the Secret Barrel caught him by surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Now the real question is, does Savetta have anything to side against KL's burn? I mean, we've seen Des Wombat be a very popular card, but does he have it here in his side in this case?
We haven't really seen what Sveta is playing even. We only saw Scapegoat and Enemy Controller.
Yeah, so there's still a lot of question marks going into game 2 here for both sides.
Well, Sveta's going to start off with the T set, so still not a lot of info revealed.
I like that they have the same sleeves. I think that's kind of satisfying to look at.
Yeah, these Rescue Cat sleeves are no longer available on Dueling Book, but if you were using them before they were taken off, they're still like cached there, I guess. So it's kind of a flex.
They also look very pretty.
You just like cats, I guess.
Who doesn't like the look of Rescue Cat?
I mean, some people are allergic to cats. I don't know if they'll want that cat to rescue them. Maybe they'll want the rescue rabbit instead or something.
I mean, I have a cat in my household and I'm allergic, but thankfully all it just needs to do is just rub itself in its face and that's where it triggers. So as long as I do that, I'm okay.
Okay.
So this is quite interesting that they set the Magician of Faith without a spell in the grave. And here we see why, because of the Book of Moon.
Might have just been like not a great hand.
They decided to trade the Book of Moon for 800 life points there. I don't think everyone would have done so.
Not looking too great, honestly. Unless there's some really good follow-up that they have.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
But to be fair, 900 is larger than... But it gets bigger. Yeah, right, the panda gets bigger.
Ooh, Ceasefire. Okay.
This is really sweet.
Yeah, that's a sweet idea there. So that Mystic Swordsman's not going to trigger the effect because Ceasefire is going to flip Panda face up. NKL is going to deal 1,000 damage.
And, Ceasefire saw some play in the early GOAT format decks just because it was just a hard counter to Nobleman of Crossup. But we don't see it a whole lot anymore now. So nice to see it resurface in some way, shape, and form here in the burn deck by KL.
I mean,
and using it to greatly counter that Mystic Swordsman.
Max played Ceasefire and he did well. Just so you know.
Which is definitely good to know because I love Ceasefire and I love setting Sangan and Ceasefire just as just like an opening bait.
Yeah, try to get that Nobleman off. Trade Nobleman for Ceasefire instead. Deal 500. Now you have a Sangan defense.
That's a trade out.
That way you're not getting killed by like random BLS or something.
It's definitely a trade I'll be happily to take any day.
Well, that Panda picked up the Mystic Swordsman, and we got 2 more back rows on KL's side. So
yeah, I'm still a bit.
Response.
Yeah, I'm still a bit confused as to what deck Severa is playing.
It could just be straight up goat control with maybe Tex. We haven't seen like Thunder Dragon at all.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. It could be goat control with like a small warrior engine. I've tried those lists. They're fun to play.
Yeah, I mean, like it's not unreasonable to side deck Mystic Swordsman level 2 here.
That's actually very true. Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, here's reinforcements of the army. So maybe it is just straight up warriors.
Could be. Could also be that they have a warrior package in the side. as you were suggesting.
Don Zalug.
But I wouldn't put Don Salug into my side deck. So does look like warriors.
Definitely a main deck card, and this is a great way to start baiting out those back rows. Considering he's running burn, they're probably not a card that to stop the attack or anything like that.
Oh,
Well, this will stop the
Ooh.
attack because the Geometry is going to give Savita 3 more guys on the board. That's going to power up the Panda to 28. Unless Savita's got a response, but it doesn't look like it. Oh, but Torrential, okay.
oh, this is a nice chain.
Yeah, so when it comes out, Savita can chain Torrential in the battle phase and then chain Secret Barrel so that Secret Barrel does the burn damage first and then Torrential happens. And we'll take an additional 900 on top of that 16 from the Ojama tokens.
So a lot of resources traded off.
Yeah, they're going to be even on cards though once KL draws.
But Sveta has taken quite a lot of damage.
And that's where the burn deck wants to be.
A burn typically
However-
doesn't mind being behind in card advantage just because like they can reach the end goal really quickly if they have the lead in the life points.
Right. And normal summoning Exiled Force. Going to try to poke in.
Yeah, Sveta desperate to put pressure here.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Burn is that they can have all these back rows, but usually they're not stuff like Mirror Force or Torrential. So it's where you think that when you're setting like back rows against any other like standard deck, that's usually going to be something like removal. Most of the time with Burn, you can kind of try to test the waters out and make them have it in that case, you know? Where sometimes you might want to try to play around for like certain removal in other decks.
I don't think there's any panic at all in KL right now. He's firmly in control, even though the card advantage is even at this point in time. But he's only got 3,400 left to go, and that's not far for a burn deck.
Ooh, top deck Premature Burial to get Panda back. See if Savita has a response.
I would just like to give a shout out to KL. Such a nice guy. Whenever I meet them on ladder or somewhere else, we're always happy to chat and always in a friendly mood. Cool guy to have around.
That's what we want to see. Good sportsmanship all around.
Sakuretsu Arbor against Burn, which might sound counterintuitive, but seeing as this is Panda Burn, which was suggested from the Injection Fairy Lily in Game 1, Sakuretsu Armor does make some sense.
Yeah, definitely. You want to use those pandas as an injection to try to attack so that your burn stuff is live, like with less cards. But Sakuretsu Armor is just gonna take care of that attacker. And Savita adds Ninja Grandmaster to the board, gonna get it for 28. So now, I mean, next attack is lethal on KL side. So he needs to find something here.
And I don't blame Savetta for wanting to finish this off quickly because the more time you give Burn, the more you're going to get beat. So, you know, there's a lot of pressure coming on from Savetta right now, trying to finish this quickly.
Another Ojama trio. Does KL have it or not?
Did they draw just desserts for the turn? Or why are we flipping a geometry right now?
I would have just, if I had just desserts and another burn card, I mean, I would have just fired it off here.
Yeah, I think the timing on that geometry is interesting.
Okay, Book of Moon. Okay, so if they have the Book of Moon, then this makes sense because putting the Ojomatrios out now means that they can't add an additional monster to the board. So maybe Book of Moon was their only defense. They don't have enough
Yeah,
burn
but
to clear it out.
we could have flipped the geometry last turn on Civeta's turn, right?
Yeah, but maybe they were. I'm not sure either. Then
It was peculiar activating that Ojama trio right away, especially since they could have done it on their turn. So I'm very curious to myself to see what's going on.
well, this is a heads-up play from Savita using Exile Force on his own guy. This way, any burn that comes through is going to deal less damage. Oh, and then they're going to summon Chaos Sorcerer here and banish one of the tokens.
And the reason they exile forced the Ninja Grandmaster Sasuke and not the token,
Get the
aside
light in
from
the graveyard.
taking the 300 points, was to get that light attribute in the graveyard
Yeah.
in order to drop the Chaos Sorcerer.
Very smart stuff from Savita here. But looks like KL has a chain to the sorcerer effect with just desserts, so that's 2,000.
So this is done before the Ojama Trio token was banished.
Oh, and then Ring of Destruction. Okay.
So this Ring of Destruction is going to resolve before the just desserts. So if KL has nothing here, then Civeta takes this game.
Wow, intense.
What a huge turnaround this game.
Crazy. Burned out the burn player.
That's a good showing from Civeta, for sure. Like that was very off the wall and like plays that you don't normally see. I liked it.
It looked like that game one, Savetta didn't know what to expect because they didn't really see a lot. They only saw that injection fairy lily, right, from the monsters. Just a bunch of back row because it could be really anything. You might want to put them on burn if that does happen. That's maybe your go-to, but you never know with seeing so little cards. But now that they've seen what the deck's going to do, they know what the game plan is, and I think they made a lot of heads-up plays to.
Well, it was like I was saying
that.
before, though. Like every single game in this tournament has been broadcast. You know, like they tag each other when they're playing, so no one has an unfair advantage or anything like this.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty sure Civeta would have seen KL play. So I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. I didn't watch the games before, but like maybe their hand just the game one was not very strong. I mean, it didn't look very strong to begin with, but
quite possibly. But I'm pretty sure she knew what deck it was at the very least. Whether she is she cares enough, on the other hand, to like memorize all the cards, that's like something different entirely. She's definitely like. Well, I don't know. She might be desperate to win, but you know, like I get the feeling that. Well, I don't know. It's not for me to comment. I don't really know her. She might be super invested. She's definitely done very well if she hasn't been, but she's not like constantly posting on all the forums in the same way the other three are. Is what I'm trying to get at. She's more like, you know, come in, take names, and then just do her own thing.
she's somebody's girlfriend, right?
Yeah, Moki Moki Channel.
Moki Moki Channel's girlfriend. That's who it is.
Shout out to Moki Moki Channel.
Yeah.
It's /YouTube. Or is it the other way around? Whatever. He's got a YouTube channel. Check it out.
Girlfriend might take down the whole tournament here. Exiled Force on the Cyber Jar. Great pickup.
Yeah, that's as good as it gets.
That's a very quiet opening too from KL just to do a T set. Typically, if you see burn, you see a lot more cards committed to the field as you want to try to load up their field with Ojama Trio and then start burning with Just Desserts and Secret Barrel. But not the case here, as Cyberjar is the first set card with only one back row.
There's the giant rats that Lucas wanted to see.
Is the T set an indication of what the back row is?
Possibly. It could be something like Book of Moon to protect it so that it doesn't get run over by Mystic Swordsman or Blade Knight.
Yeah, this is what I'm thinking. It's a battle trap rather than a burn card. But then again, if
it's Breaker, that invites Breaker to come down because you're not like picking between back row. You can just Book of Moon the Breaker, flip your jar, draw some cards.
I think it also could suggest that the hand of KL, it could be just a bunch of monsters, but also likely is that we're holding on to like Just Desserts and Secret Barrel, but we have no Ojama Trio to go along with
I'd
it.
agreed into Lightning Vortex discarding Sinister. So the Lightning Vortex is going to be like a smashing ground here, but still going to get rid of the giant rat so it doesn't resolve. Or the battle effect's not going to resolve. It was Magic Cylinder. Okay. Like it. That's time in the round.
Haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of cards that we don't usually see, and I think that's very fun to see.
I mean, I think Magic Cylinder's a little underrated. I mean, maybe it's solidly rated. It's limited to 1, just because it'd be kind of annoying to play around if there was multiple copies of it in this format. But yeah, it's not that great early on because it doesn't block like the attack. It does block the attack, but it doesn't deal with the monster. It's a great finisher, obviously.
Yeah, which I guess in a burn deck makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, and it makes sense there to T-sets Magic Cylinder and Cyberjar, so that if they did have something like a Blade Knight or Mystic Swordsman, you just Magic Cylinder to protect it, and then flip Jar next turn to get rid of it. Because you're really looking with Jar here to just like draw a bunch of cards. You don't really care what they get because all that's going to do is make your burn more lethal.
Makes me wonder what it'd be like at 3.
No, please.
Outrageous.
And against burn decks, when you see just like one set card, you typically don't want to try to destroy it willy-nilly just because they have so many chainable cards. So I think KL was thinking to that line of thought and decided, okay, I can set a Magic Cylinder, without any fail or any problem, and then eventually Savannah will run into it. And that's exactly what happened, but did have the Book of Moon to at least counter that for preventing from taking damage.
You could also make the case that even if Sveta were to drop a breaker and pop the back row, at least then the Cyberjar would likely get flipped. And that's also a success for KL. So here we see the DD Assailant.
Happening. Compulse to get rid of the back or the face down monster.
Yeah, we'll send it back to hand, allow for
setting up for a Delinquent Duo.
Wow.
So it was that Sagan that Savita bounced back. That's one way to deal with Sagan. And picked up a Heavy Storm as well.
And Compulse, another card we don't see that much, but also a very effective card if used correctly.
It's got it's very versatile. Sort of, I don't think it's as versatile as Book of Moon and what that can do, but there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with your own Compulse if you're bouncing your own stuff back, or like we saw here, setting up a Delinquent Duo.
I was going to say, I've seen Compulse used quite a bit in Gravekeeper decks to protect spies.
Yeah, it's a popular card in, as you were saying, Gravekeeper to protect spies, but it's also pretty good with aggro decks to clear the way.
Desert Sunlight in Gravekeepers, trigger your flip effect.
But you're also an aggro deck, so you want to be able to remove larger threats.
Yeah, you
and
get the
walls.
flexibility
That's-
there.
Yeah.
That's why you shouldn't be playing. Yeah, I'm not gonna even say it.
Playing that delinquent duo puts Savetta behind in life points, but was able to score that attack last battle phase, and now in the lead. Now that we're in time, is a very crucial moment for both these players.
I have no idea who's going to win this now.
I mean, those backrows are definitely scary.
Well, yeah. Oh, what? Oh, Geometry, of course.
So
Yeah.
yeah, gonna do this in the chain order so that Geometry resolves first.
And KL has enough experience to know that they should wait for Savetta to respond between each of these.
So this is gonna be a ton of damage. I don't know if it's gonna be lethal, so that's
Oh, I don't know for sure.
20.
So 2,000, 2,000 plus 2,000. That's 6,000 damage. This is
Yeah.
lethal right now.
Well, there we go. Well done. GG.
Crazy.
Yeah. Ouch. Okay.
No, wait. 18, 18, 2,000. Oh, so that's exactly 56.
Well,
Wow, exacties. Nice.
exacties.
And there's no enemy controller to be able to reduce your field. I don't know if there's any quick play spell that Savetta can play to get out of this situation right now.
And even if they do,
Scapegoat.
all the cards don't go to the graveyard until
no.
the end of the chain.
Yeah, exactly that.
Okay, that was nice.
Right, I instructed the other two to play almost immediately, so they should be.
Congrats to KL, making my bracket so far right.
Yeah.
So who did you say we're gonna win?
KO.
I don't know who's gonna win, but
Oh, right.
I just
Oh, you
wanted to
didn't
see-
predict that?
I didn't predict the winner. No, I only predicted up to grand finals.
I don't know. I think KL's pretty.
I mean, if they keep drawing like that, I would hope they win the tournament.
So who are we watching now?
Delicious and Mobius when they,
The actual
get
Frost
into it.
Monarch Mobius.
Okay. Let's have a quick look at the bracket. In fact, I'll do the bracket right now. So, KL won against Savetta, and then the winner of this match that we're about to watch.
And I'm in.
It looks like they're on.
Are they? Nice.
Delicious has the Rescue Cat sleeves as well.
Mobius, however, is opting for the tour guide sleeves.
All tour got everything here from Mobius.
Yeah, I like that. Tour guide is one of those that you can do both.
What do you?
The sleeves and the profile picture.
You use?
I used tour guide before, but then I got enough experience or whatever, so now I'm switching to Stardust Dragon. But I still have the same for the sleeves and the profile picture.
Oh, so you're Stardust Dragon?
Yeah. But before, when I had tour guide, quite a few people have that. So you could get the mirror with tour guide against tour guide.
Hmm.
That was the best moments. I made some friends doing that.
Looks like another warrior deck from Dill's side. Big Blade Knight gonna try to run over Kaiko. Successfully does. 200 damage to Mobius. And MST in the end phase. We're gonna snipe Solemn? No, we're gonna snipe Ring of Destruction instead. Not a bad pickup.
Interesting turn one from Mobius.
I'd say
Do they
it's a
have the
great-
follow-up for the 3 back rows like a heavy storm? Because we saw Frobusha decide to set 4 just to power up that Blade Knight. And you've got to wonder how many of those set cards are actually bluffs.
I'd like to think there's at least one solemn among them.
Mobius is going to set a bunch of their own. Not fearing Heavy Storm, obviously, since there's 3 back rows on Delicious' side.
Setting multiple cards from Frobucia, often a poor strategy when facing Mobius, but this time around it's going to work out.
Reinforcements of the army.
Donsalug? Yeah.
Picking them
There
up.
we go.
Oh, picking the wrong art for Don again.
Yeah, I also like the swords. I think that's nicer.
Donslug's always one of the greatest cards in GOAT format to bait out any back rows and, kind of feel out any landmines just because unless you got a Sinister Serpent or a Dark World in your hand, you don't want to be discarding in GOAT format.
Dark World.
Get out of here.
You're a little too after Go format for that.
A
Those
little
guys.
too far into it.
So
Back
are we
row
going
to
to
armor,
see a
gonna try to
Solemn
trade with
here
Don.
from Frobucia? No, okay.
Okay. Then Big Blade's gonna come in for 2,000.
I guess maybe I should have said Electric Snake.
There we go.
Electric Snake would have been
There we
better.
go.
Hey, there he is.
Then you just let it happen. Then you're like, do it, baby.
Yeah.
Let me get my 2 cards.
By the way, Donslug's just a great card to feel out your opponent just to see if they have any bluffs or anything. And then also let you know if you can start going aggressor or not, considering that they have no traps or anything to stop a Donslug attack. So he's a great feeler out, and he's one of my favorite cards in the game.
Yeah, and it's another card that I think no one is talking about, but has seen a significant rise in play, I think. I certainly see more Donzalugs this year than I did last, and I think that's got to do with the rise of Mystic Tomato. Potentially, I don't know, but I definitely noticed more.
Yeah, I mean, people will just set Donzalug, and people will attack into Donzalug, so you can just pick up free cards that way.
Yeah, when Chaos Warrior was all the rage, when it just popped out, I was playing Angel Chaos, and I never wanted to attack with my Shining Angels. It was so miserable when it was a Donsalug set. So here we can see Mobius go for the book, which implies that there's going to be a Nobleman of Crossout follow-up, or maybe we're just going to attempt to run over the Blade Knight.
Well,
Kind of
Magic
curious
Trade-
why Magic Strain is flipped here in response. I think that looks a bit weird.
It definitely looks a bit weird, but think of like if you don't want to discard a card to try to hard counter a trap, or not a trap, a spell. Magic Drain is actually kind of decent because you're getting like another card out of the hand with it if they have a spell card to discard, or you're just negating whatever spell they're trying to play.
On this occasion,
You also have
it's going to put him on a 2-turn clock.
Like it still trades with a card either way.
Mm-hmm. Also consider the monster that's being protected, and that's Blade Knight, and it's got 2,000 attack, and there's no other monster that you can just quickly normal summon and be able to beat that unless it's another Blade Knight itself. So, yeah, I think that's also another reason why Frobucia decided to Magic Drain that Book of Moon, so that way you can keep that offensive presence on the field, and knowing that another monster really can't beat over it.
Yeah, because it looked like that next turn, Mobius was going to try to run over it with Mystic Swordsman. I don't know if that would have worked out, but could have a potential another way to protect Swordsman.
Magic Drain, just quickly as well, is that's another card that I think is Delicious's kind of signature for this tournament for sure. Like, I think he mains it. I'm not 100%, but
I mean, this is game 1.
oh yeah, yeah, that'll be. He will be maining it then. Yes.
There's a Magical Warrior Breaker.
So most common response would be book here.
But do you really need to Book a Moon this? I guess maybe. If you don't want to have anything else get popped.
Depends how many chainables you have. If they're all Dust Tornado, then, whatever.
Yeah. Imagine
I
that.
think-
Just 3 Dust Tornadoes and then an MST set. Just get them.
Yeah. So here we see the book.
Yeah, that's fine. You rather. Okay. Then
Yeah.
a response just trade. But
Oh,
Ooh.
gonna pay 4,000 here.
going for blood. So
That's
this
my
play knight
guy.
is lethal. So Frobucha might have a nobleman here.
That or just another monster and then a solemn on top of it.
That would also work.
Because if they solemn your solemn, I don't think you solemn in response because you just need to top deck another monster and then or summon the other one that's in your hand. Because anything's lethal at that point. Unless it's like Sinister Serpent, ew.
Yeah, that's the torrential tribute kind of shows me that Mobius may not have a lot of help in the back row to help that, because at least if Breaker's set, then you have they have to summon another monster to go for lethal. But if they don't, then
They did have the nobleman after
you'll be
all.
okay to survive a turn.
I think.
Well, I think they were going to torrential either way because you summon the breaker, try to break something, and then torrential to get rid of the monster as well.
Yeah, the fact that he solemned that torrential to me means that he had game, pretty much. He had the game plan. I mean, Mobius had been failing to stop his Blade Knight attacks all this time.
Yeah, you gotta wonder what the heck those back rows were then.
Well, yeah.
Maybe something like Duo and like
Could be Dust Shoots.
Dust Shoots, yeah, that just weren't lethal or weren't live. But he would have set Dust Shoot like earlier. Some of those cards were on the second turn that they set.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, Mobius is gonna go first now.
I was predicting that one of them could be a nobleman because of the Book of Moonplay.
And I think you were right.
So could have been a combination of noblemen and Dust Shoots.
Pot of Greed's a good way to start your game 2 here. Followed up by Graceful Charity, even better.
Mobius taking a little bit of time deciding what they're going to discard. I'm taking a guess that Sinister Serpent may not be in there.
It's not always a bad thing in Warriors to not discard something like Sinister Serpent. Sometimes you want to discard stuff in the graveyard just to either fuel chaos if you're Chaos Warriors, or if you have revival spells like Premature and Call the Haunted, you can just like bring back a warrior at that end.
Definitely. Here we see something interesting. Mobius has kept nobleman in the deck after side.
Yeah, it could be either a mistake or wanted to capitalize on Book of Mooting the cards.
I think
Could also be a read that there's flips in the opposing deck.
I
Yeah,
think it
that
is
too.
as well. I think you're exactly right, Lucas. I think if also Furobusha could have actually sided in the flips that he didn't have in game 1. Remember, Mobius especially is going to be one of these people who has watched every single game that Delicious has played. 100%.
They discarded one, so that may signal that they have another. That or they're trying to make them think that they have another.
Maybe they figured that their hand had the tools to deal with set monsters.
Duo's gonna rip
It's going to be
Tribe Infecting Virus. And then what else are we gonna get out of Mobius's hand?
If you're ever going to use Delinquent Duo, the best time to use it is after your opponent has Graceful, because that's when their
Yeah.
card quality in their hand is at its peak. So that's when you get the most value.
Yeah, because odds are that you know that they're not going to have Sinister Serpent in their hand already, so you're stripping off 2 really good cards out of it. And considering the time that Mobius took to play Graceful Charity and decide on its discard, it's a very difficult decision already to get hit with Delinquent Duo.
Whew.
And there we
And
see a
despite
flip
the
from
duo, I mean,
Dilicious.
Mobius just has everything. Dust Tornado on top of Breaker and Tribe already in the hand that were discarded, and then Exiled Force too.
So Blade Knight would be a clean answer here.
There's the Nobleman of Extermination. So it's going to actually banish the rest of the Sacrificer armors from both players' decks.
And that's probably one of the best cards in the matchup.
In the mirror match, for sure.
Yeah.
Get rid of Mobius. All of Mobius' Sacrificer armors are gone now.
Crashes the Kaiku.
Both players are.
So Mobius has Chaos live now. Or they did before when the Breaker hit the graveyard, right?
Yeah, once the Breaker hit the graveyard, then they have a Chaos card live because they already discarded DD Warrior Lady from Graceful Charity earlier. So it's an even game state, but Mobius right now is in the better position.
And I would think Mobius has some quite qualitative cards, seeing as they have discarded so many good cards already from
Heavy
the
Storm,
Delinquent Duo and the Graceful.
Heavy Storm to clear out Solemn Judgment in the back. And then Kaiko going to control the graveyard even more.
Sorry to interrupt. Is that Sakuretsu armor in the graveyard meant to be banished, or was it used?
I think so, but I don't think it matters. So
It
No,
sounds like
it's
it's like
I suppose.
No, it was already in the graveyard when Nobleman of Extermination was activated, so it will not be counted.
on Delicious' side it was. On Mobius' side it should have been banished, but doesn't look like it matters too much because Mobius is going to pick up this game too.
Yeah, the only advantage I could give to Furobusha at that point in time was that they might have a better top deck game just because they haven't gone through Pot of Greed or Graceful Charity like Mobius did, despite the even game state. But Mobius already had a much more established hand and board compared to Furobusha, and no surprise that Mobius was able to take game 1 from that.
So interesting little mind game here. Now that we've seen the Magician of Faith, but we've also seen the Nobleman of Crossout. Do you take out the flips now that you've seen the Nobleman? And what does Mobius do? Do they predict that Frobucha takes out the flips and takes out their Nobleman?
I would, from Mobius' perspective, I would keep Nobleman in.
And from Frobucha?
I have no idea. I mean, it's all speculation, right? It's like rock, paper, scissors. There's no way of knowing of how many. I would keep the Nobleman of Extermination in, because that clearly worked quite well. If he gets a solemn with that, that's quite nice. But as for the other Nobleman, anyone's guess, like you say. I would probably keep it in, because I prefer versatility over... Well, yeah. You've got more options with Nobleman, potentially.
I can see 2 factors. It depends how many Book of Moon you have in your deck per side. Also, if you're not running too many books, then I would probably just rely on Blade Knight.
One set from Delicious. And then Mobius is going to respond with Delinquent Duo, so... Delinquent Duo is pretty good in this matchup. Even if both of them do have Chaos cards, even though it could potentially fuel Chaos, still less likely to have something like Sinister to block a duo with, so you're getting 2 cards most of the time off of this Delinquent Duo here.
Ooh.
Picking a Mirror Force and Rhoda.
Discarding Rota is very interesting because that's one of the absolutely best cards in the deck.
Yeah,
Yeah, what could he possibly have? Like, that's worth
another Rhoda, or
Yeah.
maybe he's got some great monsters that he wants to keep.
Triple Solemn Judgment? No, I don't know.
I mean, if Rhoda's the worst card in your hand after discarding Mirror Force, then
Yeah.
you must have something.
It might be that he has one copy of a warrior that he doesn't want to get rid of that Rota can't get. Is my guess.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but there
no.
were 3 cards.
Donzalug could be one of
Top
them.
deck Breaker
Didn't shuffle the hand.
wants them to know, but it's gonna break a
Want
Dust
them to
Tornado.
know.
It broke a Widespread Ruin.
Oh, do you think that could be a thing moving forward? That you play Widespread rather than Sakaret's Armor, so that when you use the Nobleman of Extermination, you only hit their Sakaretsu?
I think that's very specific.
That's
I-
very specific.
Sounds
But
awful, yeah.
You also have it if you add in like 1 or 2. That means that you have additional copies of Sakuretsu armor, essentially.
I actually think Widespread Ruin is significantly worse than Sakuretsu Armor from
Oh, it
my
is.
own
It's
experience.
not as good.
I know, but like so significantly that playing around Nobleman of Extermination doesn't even come into it.
Well, it's more because you're siding in the Nobleman of Exterminations, right? Because if you're aiming to hit Sakuretsu armors, you're going to banish the ones that you already have in your deck, but you still have a Sakuretsu armor type card with Widespread Ruin.
Yeah, I guess, but
That's how I see it.
You could also make a case that for every Sakaretsu Armor removed from your deck, you're more likely to draw Pot of Greed and Graceful Charity and Snatch Steal and those
What?
cards. So maybe it's even advantageous to exile or banish rather.
Oh,
the
right, I
Sakaretsu
see.
Armor.
Yes, no, I get you. Yeah, no, I agree. Potentially.
Well, you also remove all your Sakuretsu armors from Nobleman of Extermination. You feel more inclined to attack knowing that there's not Sakuretsu, and then get surprised with the Widespread Ruin. So I think that's kind of that's a factor that to take into consideration because it's
you
a big
think
surprise factor for sure.
So the
It's a
play
cool
here
concept.
was Snatch Steal took Breaker and then Mobius summoned Tribe. Do you think if Mobius changed the order by summoning, I guess he would have asked for Prio. Maybe they would have traded with Torrential, but if he passes Prio by summoning Tribe, do you think Delicious still uses Torrential Tribute there?
No, I
Nope.
think that was a
No, I don't
sequencing
think
error
so.
from Mobius, most likely.
Yeah, I definitely would have summoned out the Tribe Infecting Fire first and passed priority just to see what Frobusha would do in that case. But by doing that, it just made that Frobusha's decision so much easier.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is interesting. So they hit the Sakaretsu Armor, but this time only 2 were banished from Mobius.
Well-
Last game there were 3. So is the set card from Mobius a Sakaretsu Armor? I
That
think
or
so.
it's still in the hand.
Yeah, I think you're right.
There's only 3 places it could possibly be.
The side deck, the field, or the hand. So
Yep.
it'll be interesting to see. And that this Donzalug is gonna definitely give us the answer here momentarily.
For sure.
It's gonna attack directly.
We're going to see it one way or another.
I want to see Donzalug and then call the Haunted on that Donzalug once it gets Saku. Yep.
That was a great
There's a
read,
soccer.
Lucas. Well done.
There's
What an
a
awkward
Kaiko,
spot
that's
for
great.
Mobius to get Nobleman of Extermination, right? Just like, doesn't matter which one they hit, you're getting rid of Sakuretsu armor. Now we're top decking.
That's a good
Oh,
He's
this is
late
so
night.
good.
God's sake. They're so
Probably-
lucky.
Probably one of the best monsters to rip off the top, Blade Knight, just because you can get that attack gain of 400 and stop any flip effect monsters. Huge rip.
It's gonna get dealt with Exiled Force. So any
Let's see it.
monster will do it here for Delicious.
Or not.
Oh, that's
not
a
that
flip.
monster because it's a Faith. But Blade Knight
Oh,
responds.
no.
Oh, no.
Blade Knight able to negate any flip effect monsters it battles with if it's the only monster. So it's just bad luck now for Frobusha. Unless there's something else we're missing. But even if it was a Mystic Tomato, you think you would summon an attack mode. Oh,
Oof.
there's our answer.
So what's the best draw? Wait, now Chaos is alive, right? Oh, it already was because of the Blade Knight, right?
For delicious, yeah. Double blade.
Mirror Force?
No, that was discarded from Delinquent Duo.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're
we know,
right.
We know Mirror Force it can't be, and we can't. It's not torrential either. No
Torrential's
sacrificial
already
armor.
gone.
He actually
So
doesn't-
Black
Black
Knight Soldier.
damage. Whew.
BLS, Snatch, Chaos Sorcerer.
Uh-oh.
I think he drew a chaos. He's gonna flip the MST here.
Could be a
Yeah.
Snatch as well.
Book one of them.
Yeah,
Ooh,
there's
you
a
were right, it was
Snatch.
Snatch.
Whoa.
Oh, that's
Ex-
dangerous.
Exactly what Froebusha needed to get back in this, and now starting to win the top deck war. Chaos Monster or some Spell Trap Room would be nice here for Mobius.
Mobius still has Heavy Storm available to them, MST as well.
Oh, I was
Oh.
gonna say it! I was gonna say it! No! Oh, that's so bad.
Oh god.
Nug the top of the deck for Breaker, baby.
I'm glad Dill gave him the GG. Let's have a look at that bracket now. Oh no.
Wow, that was great.
That was
Yeah.
top deck war between two warrior decks there.
So this is how you play Warrior, kids. You just trade off every card, just 1 for 1, 1 for 1, and then top deck better.
Right, so now it's
That's the breaks.
Civetta and Dill.
Mobius.
Correct. Thank you.
Close.
Okay, so I accidentally moved my stream. Hopefully that doesn't mess it up incompletely.
I think it looks okay. I'm 10 minutes behind, never mind.
Oh, come on. Right.
And we're off.
Yeah, that looks fine.
Alright. Let's see if Mobius can continue their momentum here after coming off winning versus Dill just now.
So,
Both these players already making a second appearance today on our broadcast.
Civetta's deck is still a bit of a mystery, because they were playing Scapegoat, but also quite a lot of warriors per side. So I would think they're maining their warrior package.
Maybe it's like Warrior Goat, like it's Goat control, but just like has warrior monsters in the main instead of flip effects.
I've played around with that, but everyone tells me I'm terrible when I do it, so
I
I
mean,
give
it's
up.
someone I read like a old regional report on like Pojo, like in the archives there, where like someone played a deck like that and just went to a regional, and then like somebody had a Cyber Dragon. They were just like, I didn't know Cyber Dragon was legal. It was like right before it came out, or like right after the sneak preview or something. We'll
And
get to
yeah.
see some information though with Trap Dust Shoot. Enemy controller, Chaos Sorcerer, Ring of Destruction, Torrential, Meta, and DD Warrior Lady. Probably sending back the DD Warrior Lady.
Yep. Oh.
Well, if you have an answer to the DD Warrior Lady, that's a different option, but
The sorcerer did look very bad though.
yeah, you kind of just want to keep that dead sorcerer in the hands, I would think.
Especially when you try playing a deck with Kaiku.
Yeah. Because you don't want them to just draw it later on. You want them to have it and then have it not be usable. Because if he answers the DD Warrior Lady here, that's already a light in the graveyard for Chaos.
So you could make a case for summoning the War Lady and just passing here.
Nah, so he just gonna
Does decide
swing.
to attack. Alright. Now the Torrential is live.
Yeah,
So
I mean, I
is
guess
that-
they.
Yeah.
I guess they just felt like, okay, I have the answer to DD Warrior Lady already set, so I'll get rid of the Chaos, which I can't answer right now.
I'm going to guess that he set back the Chaos Sorcerer knowing that he has a easy way to deal with DD Warrior Lady at that point in time, and it's an easy threat to get rid of. But I would agree with Savetta and just summoning the DD Warrior Lady and just feel out what all those back rows are, considering you really don't have much of an option. And again, knowing how the torrential back row, you can just continue unfettered.
I would have set the enemy controller to play around Delinquent Duo. This is gonna get torrentialed. Because the only time someone doesn't play their Delinquent Duo turn 1 is when they have the dust shoot. So Mobius could have had a Delinquent Duo there. Wow. Aggressive.
So I think that was just a bit of a misplay from Savita. They should have waited until they used priority. You called it Delinquent Duo, Lucas. They should have waited for priority to be retained to break before they torrential, just so that it's not 19.
No, I don't think you can do that.
No, you can't because
Yes, you can. It's all in the summon window.
Well, your priority gets eaten up from the summon of Breaker, which will trigger immediately when it's summoned, and that's the only window that you can play Torrential Tribute at that point.
Oh. Right? Wait. Yeah, you guys are right. Never mind. I'm stupid.
I think that's why you have me on the broadcast team now.
So
And
I would
Mobius-
imagine. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I said Mobius knew that knew exactly what those two cards were in the hand from Delinquent Duel, which was enemy control and metamorphosis, so he could play it and just feel good about it, knowing that you're pretty much top deck at this point, and with so much card advantage. And 1900 again is very difficult to get over outside of a Blade Knight. So Savetta is in a really tough situation right now.
They can't set anything either, really, unless it's something chainable.
Yeah, and the
That
ring is
Breaker
already
still has a
gone.
Counter.
Yeah, ring is gone, so the next best thing you could maybe set is the Mystical Space Typhoon or a Dust Tornado.
Dueling Books just kicked me out. Sorry for our viewers.
Dylan would kick me out too.
I think we're not alone.
Oh no.
What a good website.
This has
Every
been an
time.
issue. Yep, this has been an issue lately with Dueling Book. Many people have just been getting disconnected randomly at some point in time. I played a rogue tournament yesterday on Dueling Book, and everybody got disconnected at one point, which really screwed everything up. Thankfully, I already finished my match beforehand, but this has been a common problem now as of late.
So what was the score in the match?
I actually don't know. Was that game one?
No, I think it was.
I think it was game 1.
It might have been. Wait. I actually don't remember.
No, I think that was game 1.
I'm
So
very
I
certain that
guess
was
we
game
just
one.
start over.
Yeah, I think that is the best way to go about it. I'm back in now.
Yeah,
Very
back
unfortunate for Mobius, who were in a great position. But this is what we're working with
Wait a
here.
minute. Is
So
the HTML5 one just not alive anymore? Never mind. I can't.
likely it's going to be a few minutes, and then we're back online.
Hmm.
It just.
So
is down again.
what have we seen so far today? KL with Beast Burn, I guess, Giant Rat Burn, beat Sivera, and Mobius was beaten by. Help me out.
Did Mobius lock the match?
Oh god.
Mobius won over.
One against
Delicious
Froabusha. Yeah.
in Warrior.
Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah. And then we're watching
the-
here this goat control kind of warrior mishmash deck that we're seeing, and with Chaos Sorcerer on top of it as well. I guess it's like a Chaos Control then, just with some warrior cards in it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Chaos Sorcerer implies that we should call it chaos, but
There could just be one.
it's very likely just one. So I mean, if I were to play a classic goat control list, but I threw in a chaos sorcerer there, is it now a chaos deck?
Yes.
Depends how you view it. I would call this warrior goat chaos.
It's sort of semantics. It's like how many
Yeah.
chaos defines it. I would say like 3 chaos monsters total. Then you're like very, because then you're really dedicating to it.
But then again, the chaos
then the
warrior
chaos
decks.
warrior only has 2, so it's weird.
Take a break.
Yeah, I think we may have to take a break.
But we
I
will
don't
be
know.
back, hopefully.
Well, I don't know. How long's it usually? It usually is alright after like 10, 20 minutes, right?
I think it's like 5.
5? Oh, in that case, we won't even bother.
Yeah,
Um,
I've already been able to rejoin the duel, and we're just waiting on Savetta to rejoin. Mobius is
I'm
already
still
here.
down on my end here.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, of course. Does someone want to talk me through quickly? I mean, I know it's a bit ad hoc on the stream, but this new system that Dueling Book has implemented, I know there's a countdown timer on people's pictures.
Yep, there's a countdown timer now. Now that you get disconnected, you actually have time to reconnect to the duel that you're on right now. Mobius is already here, and Savetta right now has just under 2 minutes to get back online before they are quote unquote forfeited the duel or match. I'm not sure yet. I haven't actually seen it run out yet, but yeah, it's a new feature that they've added to Dueling Book. But at the same time, we've also seen a lot more just server disconnects that have happened as of late. So the board is still here from where we left off. So that's still there. So the integrity of the match still hasn't been lost yet, but we're still waiting on Savetta to get right back on. They have about 90 seconds now.
Is it possible for Mobius to pause the game and therefore pause the timer?
I don't think that's how it works.
I believe that that is not an option.
Damn. Well, I'm still. I feel bad for awarding Mobius the win off of the back of this.
But if it's
I
a,
don't
if
think
it's a
it's
server
either-
disconnect, then
yeah,
I don't think.
it's definitely a Dueling Book issue. Like, I can't get in, so
Yeah,
No,
I
me
know.
neither.
Me
it's
neither.
something on
Yeah.
the Dueling Book end. It's neither player's fault.
If
It's
all
not
6
like-
of us are kicked at the same time, we can't just award one of the players the win.
Yeah, that's kind of.
No,
Lame.
I'm not. I don't intend to.
But while I'm dead in the water right now, I will be right back.
Yeah, no problem. Alright, well, I'm going to keep the stream running. However, I am going to put us on a break. We will be back when Dueling Book is back. So that could be, we hope, around 5 minutes or so. But yeah, give us 5 minutes. Try not to go anywhere, and then we'll see. I'll update you in 5 regardless of whether we're back or not. So stay tuned.
So
Okay, we're
are we
back.
live now?
Yeah,
or
well, I've literally just flipped it back. So
okay, cool.
So we're back. I have instructed both players to restart the match. We will be back with live commentary very shortly. Okay, so we're back live. We were just waiting for them to start. Unfortunate for Mobius, I am going to award him the rock paper scissors advantage. And that's since he got that last time.
Okay, so I have received word from the leading authority on GOAT format, Chris Perovic himself, that if a control deck runs 2 Chaos Sorcerer or 3, then it is Chaos Control. However, if it's only running the 1 and it has the GOAT engine, it's GOAT Control.
Wait, did
Do you agree with this?
DM them directly, or
No, they DM'd me directly.
Oh.
So I think we all agree on this, right, guys?
What did I say? At least 3 chaos, then it's a chaos deck?
Yes, that's what I
Exactly,
heard.
perfect. But I asked Chris back, what about Chaos Warriors? And for those, we make an exception. Then it's enough with 1 Chaos Sorcerer. That means 2 Chaos Monsters.
Whatever.
So if ever some website would make, let's say, GOAT format deck types, then we are all in agreement that 2 Chaos Sorcerer makes a Chaos Control deck, whilst 1 does not.
Oh, Savetta and Mobius are dueling now.
Oh!
Started off the same again. It does shoot from Mobius' side after going first. This one's going to pick up a Sinister Serpent, only monster in the hand for Savita, so no choice this time. But
And that Lightning Vortex doesn't look very good anymore.
No, but at least the Liquid Duo is going to be able to discard 2 cards in the hand. Has some ways to deal with the DD Warrior Lady through Ring of Destruction if they so choose. Can block with Scapegoat as well.
And here we can see Mobius. They decided to summon the DD Warrior Lady face up rather than setting it to play around Nobleman or Crossout.
Yep.
So let's see why Mobius did not decide to play around Delinquent Duo. Maybe there are 2 monsters in the hand that we were not able to set.
We're gonna
onto the
find
field.
out.
I predict 2 monsters. We'll see. Decisive
That's
Judgment.
maybe why.
Ooh.
No, that's just all the more incentive to set them to play around the duo, right?
It could be, like you said, 2 monsters, so they can't set them.
So
So Ringen and Goats are down there. Speed hand not very strong anymore after getting dust shooted.
I think it's safe to say that back row for Mobius is not Dust Tornado or Mystical Space Typhoon. I definitely would have thrown out an end phase, spell trap removal there, just because both those cards are chainable, and I would want to get rid of one of those at least.
good point. Decisive for the goats, which is a bit surprising to me. I would have used the ring, I think. Seeing as we don't have a Metamorphosis in the hand.
I would be okay with that, just because we know that Lightning Vortex is in Savada's hands. So, playing that Scapegoats can buy them a lot of turns, and Mobius will likely not commit to the board with that knowledge in hand.
That's actually very nice. Good point.
So if I was Mobius, I would just keep pecking away with at Savada with just DD Wardley, unless somehow they draw into a Sangan, and then of course all bets are off at that point.
Definitely.
Yeah, and this is exactly what Savada needs right now, is to buy some time so they can draw some cards to replenish their hand with what was rather a pedestrian hand at that point, especially with the Sinister Serpent being ripped out of the hand and going back into the deck. And this is being able to actually get that hand seen is actually going to play to Savada's advantage, because Mobius may not overextend, but here I'm being proven wrong as we speak.
And
maybe they felt forced to.
Ring can pick up Big Blade Knight as well, and then that's only 2,000 left for Mobius on Mobius' life points. Ring could potentially be used to win the game if they just hold it long enough, can hold on to it.
Yeah, that's true. Mobius can't really flip a judgment.
Yeah, I mean, the Lightning Vortex in hand can pick up both of these cards here.
It would be a heads-up play from Mobius to not make the Blade Knight bigger in order to be able to flip the judgment on the Vortex without losing to the ring.
My guess is the Lightning Vortex is going to come down on this turn.
It kind of needs to.
Yeah.
Question is, would he discard? I think you want to discard the Premature just because they know that it's in the hand and it's not doing anything really.
It definitely is not live right now, but let's see what happens.
Well,
maybe that's a Mirror Force. Could also be a Torrential. Could be another Goats. Could be anything. We have no read.
A lot of different stuff here.
Or Savada could just be thinking, I can take one attack from a Blade Knight and be in an okay situation and just let this go. Maybe try to dig for maybe a card that could help it out, and maybe to discard, because maybe the Premature Burial, even though it's not live right now, it can be very powerful down the road, which is why Savada might decide, okay, I'll just let this go and I can just take one attack, knowing that they're not going to overextend because I have Lightning Vortex in my hand. At least 3 monsters they want to overextend with it.
And they got to be thinking they're not making the Blade Knight any bigger. So not taking 2,000 instead. They do have some time. Third back row on Savada's side. Playing it patient.
I would assume one of those is Goats or Mirror Force. Yep.
There's the Goats.
You called it.
Card they just drew.
And Savada doesn't have to be, on a clock here, because even a top deck metamorphosis can help turn this around, at least, especially with those scapegoats up. But I wonder what else Savetta is waiting for before, pulling the trigger on that lightning vortex. Boy, that dust shoot really did a number on Savetta.
Yeah, that dust shoot was really good. Finally decided to fire off Lightning Vortex after redrawing Sinister Serpent. Was just waiting forever.
And yeah, Mobius can't flip a judgment even if they had one. We're on way too low life.
I don't think Mobius is at all too worried about that, considering they're up, 8 cards to Savetta's 5 will be 6 because of the Sinister Serpent.
Forcing out the response here from Savetta. Savetta opts to keep the ring using the torrential.
Yeah, like they're just sitting on it. They know that's a win condition for them. And Mobius knows it too.
So Mobius might not want to set a bunch of trap cards here, because if there were to be a heavy storm played from Savetta, they would have to flip a judgment, leaving themselves in a very precarious position facing the ring.
Yeah, because now you have to think twice before playing that Solemn Judgment, just because we know that Ring of Destruction is set. I'm pretty sure we all know it now, and taking a sting from both players' life points. But Mobius is definitely not going to like that more, and they shouldn't need to push the situation considering how much card advantage they have over Savetta.
So it's not going to forget Sinister Serpent. Add that back. Graceful Charity might unlock Savetta's hand.
And Savetta goes on the offense.
Ring of Mobius' own. Ugh.
Yeah, this is a bit awkward. 2400, however, is a much better life total than 2300.
Oh, for sure. It's 100 points better.
You definitely have to play that Ring of Destruction. It's either take 16 by battle or take 16 by your own card effect and take Tribe off the board. So it sucks, but it's one of those decisions that Mobius had to make.
And I mean, if Mobius has another monster, they could try to push through the ring. Tribe of Mobius' own. We'll see it happen here. You're going to see Savetta finally flip the ring. So now Solemn is pretty okay for Mobius, because it's just going to half their life, and they're already so low that a lot of stuff can get them anyway.
Basically free.
Yeah, basically.
And luckily for Mobius, too, that even if you Solemn Judgment, a Sinister Serpent direct attack is not going to finish them off, so they can at least afford themselves one more turn if they play Solemn Judgment in half their life points.
We'll call the Haunted end phase, get back Tribe.
So you do this end phase to play around Judgment.
Also to play around Torrential Tribute as well.
Oh, that's also a good one.
That one and a Judgment that just got set. And yeah, just attack.
This
Not
is
gonna go through
tense.
because of Sacrate's armor, yeah.
Because Savetta is also at a very low life total. So are we going to see Nobleman here? Because we haven't seen a set monster previously, right?
No.
No, we haven't.
It's possible.
Blackluster Soldier or Chaos Sorcerer too would also help finish this off. Assuming the crossouts are there, but BLS could do it without the crossout because my guess is that it's a Sinister Serpent. Oh,
It was TD Warrior Lady, but got picked up by Crossout, and that's a free shot of Savetta right there. Exiled Force, not the
Didn't have
strongest.
anything better. But that does two things. It puts Savetta in range for any warrior, pretty much,
Yep.
and it also protects Mobius.
And if they try to set something across from Exiled Force, any monster then becomes basically lethal.
But that's scary because, so you hit the serpent, and then the monster that you attack with is not lethal. If they were to use a trap, you have been tricked.
yeah, the Sinister Serpent right now it definitely could be bait, but it could be very easy bait for Mobius to sniff out, considering that might be the only monster they have in their hand. So it all depends on this top deck.
We're finally going to activate Premature that Savetta had. Only target is Tribe.
So priority Cold Warrior. Oh, why wouldn't you wait? That's a mistake.
Yeah, that definitely
Now
was a
Savetta
misplay.
has the option of setting the serpent.
Yeah, he messed up.
This is still so close. Is Savetta just holding like, I don't know, double Nobleman or something? Maybe a Chaos Monster? Maybe Delinquent Duo?
They already
The fact
used
that
the Liquid
Savetta,
Duo.
yeah, the fact that Savetta has been able to keep this close with with only 3 monsters being DD Warrior Lady, which had no effect, Sinister Serpent, and then Tribe Infecting Virus, has been able to hold on at this point in time is nothing short of remarkable, having this kind of resilience. But I wonder if this could be the end of the line, depending on what Savetta
In
drew
your
here.
draw, they think they were trying to do Dust Shoot and draw, but I don't.
No, they were just fooling around.
Okay.
Savetta was picking up the serpent in draw phase. Oh,
Summon Sinister. Oh.
I love that this is not even lethal.
That is
yeah.
interesting.
Well, yeah. Oh,
Wow,
well, it is now, kind of.
Oh, second creature swap. Let's go. Come on. I want to see it.
Well,
Enemy
Savetta has no
controller
follow.
takes Mystic Swordsman.
Yeah. Well, if Savetta has no follow-up to this, it's game over. So I can understand why that Solemn Judgment was played on Mobius's end.
It was a bit of a risky decision to summon the serpent in attack mode.
It was.
Oh,
Savetta's
and
gonna
there we
scoop
go.
it up.
Far too risky. I think Solemn was broadcast almost. I think I would have taken my chances on setting Sinister and just passing.
No.
I don't know.
You
Maybe
have to play the
try
creature swap.
Maybe you try to creature swap just to make something happen, but
Alright, but then what about
Then it's-
setting Sinister and then creature swapping?
it's,
Yeah, that's the option.
it's still awkward because you're not getting a strong monster. So if you don't have anything to protect the Mystic Swordsman that you stole, then if they top deck like a monster, you're just gonna die.
Yeah. So it's awkward either way.
Yeah, they just weren't at like the right range in order for that to work out.
I really wonder what's
Yeah.
in it was in her hand as well. It must have been some chaos monsters, right? I mean,
Chaos, Nobleman, Delinquent Duo.
yeah.
I have to feel for Savetta though. They only had 3 monsters to work with that entire game, and DD Warrior Lady, one of them got hit by a Nobleman crossout. So Tribe Infecting Virus and Sinister Serpent, not really much you could do with that, especially since didn't use Tribe Infecting Virus's effect either. So props to Savetta for having the resilience to kind of hold on and make it at least a game with a very lackluster hand.
That being said, though, I wasn't paying too much attention, but I feel like wasn't Mobius drawing ahead in the first game that they disconnected in? So this kind of like restores the balance.
Yeah, it feels fair.
But yeah, well played on both players' parts, I think.
Yeah, that was a great game from a spectator point of view.
Yeah. You can take this one to your YouTube channel, Lucas, if you'd like to plug it during siding.
Oh, I don't know if I'm a bit torn right now between wanting my videos to get views, but not actually wanting people to watch them.
Right.
So
Okay, that's a
yeah.
good policy. What? Okay. Well, he may or may not have a YouTube channel.
No, I have a
You have to do
YouTube
some
channel.
research into finding it.
I'm calling it Viking Goats. It's in its infancy stage right now. So I have a few videos on there. Some of them have a few views, not too many. You can go check it out if you like.
Does that mean I'm the only one with the real active YouTube channel right now?
Well, no, Maskus has one as well, I suppose. Okay.
So
Yeah.
Vita started Ninja Grandmaster, the reset cards, but Mobius responded with Pot Agreed.
Well,
Mobius can somehow break through here.
Oh, wait. Sorry. By watching this, does my account get the replays?
No, you have to just save the replay on your own.
Are you sure? Because I thought that if I spectated a game on Dueling Book, I get the replay.
It's a
You
match,
can,
so you can.
and once the
yeah.
game is over, you can view the replay, but
Cool. Okay. Sorry. My bad. Whoa. This is aggressive.
And again, we saw the snatch deal be played
Just getting
before the
through.
summon happened from Don to Luke. Yeah.
Sacred Armor.
But this time it does make more sense, because if the snatch steal is, say, MST'd, then you have a Don Saluk facing off against the Sasuke.
Mm-hmm. And of course, it also depends on what Mobius has in their hand too, and they had 2 back rows at least to set as backup. So, again, it's one of those 50-50 shots you have to take. I like to play the torrential side of things because I think it's more devastating than at least having like a lone Don's Luke against a Ninja Grandmaster Suzuki. But then again, I don't know Mobius's hand.
Yeah, summoning the Don Saluk there was very risky, but it did pay off. So
Big Blade Knight's going to eat Sakuretsu Armor. Instead, it's going to get Solemn Judgment, actually.
So it would appear Civeta's sided in Solemn Judgment.
Seems decent versus Solemn of Mobius' side, right? You can Solemn their Solemn.
Yeah, I think that was Dale Belito's theory on how to beat Chaos Warriors with Goat Control. Just put in Solemn in your deck to beat their Solemn.
Or you put in 7 Tools of the Bandit, so you're not paying half your life.
That's not very good if you're at 800 life points, as we saw in the last game.
No, it's not very good if you're at 800 life points, but
It's very effective at
better if
stopping
you're at
early Solemns.
better if you're at 8,000 life points.
Definitely.
It's all about the early game, mid game to compared to the late game.
Yeah.
Solemn Judgment at least is always live.
Exile Force from Savita's hand picking up DD Warrior Lady.
Ooh.
Blade Knight attacking in for 2,000.
So this is very close at this point.
And normally when you have Blade Knight on the board, you wouldn't think to exile force a face down monster, be considering that your Blade Knight can take care of flip effects. But since Savetta knows the matchup against Mobius, that they're playing Warriors as well, they know that set monster is probably going to be D Warrior Lady and not a flip effect monster. So good job by Savetta doing the exile force, or else that Blade Knight could have been toast from DD Warrior Lady.
Very good point. Here's another set. So what is this one?
Mystic Swordsman level 2, trying to defend Mobius's life points.
Well, that sounds miserable. Could be a Sangan.
Oh, and that is
There's
the first
Sangan
time.
of Savetta Zone.
I think that's the first time we've actually seen Sangan come out to the field, aside from when we saw a compulsory evacuation device.
Sure,
bounce back.
Priest. I
Yeah,
can see Mobius putting, if they saw Scapegoat, a Sure Priest coming in, make those goats a little less useful. Having a card that's kind of hard to deal with.
yeah, makes sense.
Think likely a side deck card from Mobius's end to put a Sure Priest in at this point in time.
Yeah, for sure. Side decking.
Could be in the main, but yeah, could also be in the side.
Graceful Charity on Mobius's.
Well, they've already played Pot of Greed. Now they get Graceful Charity. I wonder if there's going to be something Mobius can draw to get themselves out of this situation. It's
Chaos
not a nice
Monster
board.
could be good.
They do have a Light and Dark in the Grave for it to be live, and it would be fantastic to use against Sangen right now.
Yeah, Mystic Swordsman's not going to do much right now. Discard for Kaiko.
So yeah, Blade Knight is just dominating in this matchup, it would appear.
Yeah.
I remember the tins that Blade Knight came out of when it first got released. Everybody was buying Blade Knight tins like crazy because they knew of the power behind that card. And again, 2000 attack is nothing to sneeze at when it comes to GOAT format.
Kaiko coming down. I'm going to try to get rid of Sangan, but we met with Book of Moon. Wonder if Savita's going to book their own Sangan. Probably not. Doesn't really make that much sense to, but it is a play that they could do.
Yeah, definitely. But the body is very valuable.
Yeah, you much rather keep it up.
Yeah, indeed, you really is in the graveyard, despite the fact it could be brought back by premature burial, Call of the Haunted. But I think that Savetta thinks that that's going to be like very no to little threat of actually happening. So
Okay.
rather keep that Sangan on board. Not to mention Sangan can also take down Kaiku in battle and continue the pressure on Mobius.
So that MST, why?
Guess get rid of the last card.
Protect your mirror force that you're setting.
Yeah, I mean,
Wait, why are we setting a monster before attacking?
Yeah.
Mirror force flip. Sakuretsu, okay.
Just Saku.
Oh wow, that's nice.
They were trying to play around Mirror Force.
Yeah, but it was heavily signaled.
Mm.
That was kind of cool.
Very odd. Very odd too, because that Sangan could also have taken down that Kaiku in battle, and if it was a Mirror Force, then you'd be getting a Sangan effect either way. So I don't know why that Savetta decided to turn that into defense mode, considering like I would want that to be short, especially if I have a monster I could set, or if it does get Mirror Force, you have a monster that you could set off Sangan from that. So a very peculiar move from Savetta in my mind.
Yeah.
In hindsight,
really
it
wanted
looks
to
bad.
Set the other card. Didn't really care about. They rather kept Sangan up just to have another blocker, but I don't know. I think I would have just kept Sangan in attack regardless.
I mean, they had the hard read that it must be Mirror Force, and they were wrong, and now they look a bit silly. It happens.
That's okay.
Flips
up Nobleman.
Ooh.
So now Mobius might just turn the game around.
If they like premature DD Warrior Lady, they're just rocking and rolling at that point.
That would be fantastic for Mobius's end.
Better that they have a Chaos Monster in their hand already.
Like the difference between that Kaiko being on the field versus it not being on the field is huge. That's such a big deal.
I wonder if that set monster is a morphing jar, which is why they decided not to have Sangan be hit. But even if it was, you can fetch Sinister Serpent. I'm really puzzled with Savetta's move. I don't know if that's a misplay or anything like that, but again, I'm so perplexed by what happened in that sequence.
So it would appear Savetta, for some reason, is not responding here. Hopefully, nothing serious.
Could be Dueling Book being going down again.
Oh god.
It could, but it's not affecting everybody yet.
No.
Maybe the Moki Moki channel is doing his usual distractions.
DDoSing.
Yeah, I want to go back to that play again with Sangan going to defense mode. Could there be any reason, like if there any reason at all, that Sangan would be going to defense mode before that Blade Knight attacked the face down monster?
If you have a
The
hard
face-down
read
tank.
that there must be Mirror Force, then I think it makes sense.
I have just been given the boot from Dueling
Yeah.
Book.
Me too.
I'm also reconnecting now.
God damn it.
So even if it was Mirror Force, let's say it was, wouldn't you want the Sangan to be destroyed in that case?
If I knew it was a Mirror Force, I would save the body from the Sangan. I don't agree that it's worth the risk of it not being Mirror Force. But yeah, I do think the Sangan being in play is slightly better than it not being in play.
Just because that having a Sangan on board really makes the opponent think twice about maybe attacking and would eat some time up because of it.
Partially,
back in.
but
It looks like
partially just
Savita
because of the
reconnected.
body. Yeah,
Yes.
I'm also back
Bit
in.
of Mobius.
Yeah, the body is one thing. Although we did see earlier that Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer did try to attack Sangan on the prior turn before it got Book of Moon. So it did look like Mobius didn't really care to attack it or not in that sense.
They're continuing the duel here. It looks like Savita's face down was Magician of Faith.
Rost, are you there?
I
Yeah,
am,
they're
yeah. Just doing admin-y things behind the scenes.
Okay, but are you in the game?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Another real question here is Kaiku going to attack the defense mode Sangan at this point in time?
Definitely. Or rather, the Blade Knight.
Yeah, I think the
I-
Blade Knight attacks it, so you can. They get a card off of it, but you're gonna be able to banish a light and a dark, or you probably banish both lights.
So Tsukiyomi looks good here.
So
But I guess we're not running that.
here, but maybe if you don't play it, you can't get it.
So what did you say, Macy's? Darks or lights?
You probably want to get rid of both the lights.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so makes chaos a little bit tougher. And how much do you want to bet right now that Savata has a lightning vortex in the hand just because they searched out the Sinister Serpent from Sangan?
It could be a vortex, but it could also be metamorphosis. Could be tribe.
That's true. Could be those two as their several cards.
Could
But it
also just be that the serpent is quite good at just blocking an attack. Could also be graceful.
It
That's
could.
unlikely though, because we probably wouldn't have held on to that.
Yeah, because getting Sinister Serpent will signal definitely several cards in hand rather than just my lightning vortex prediction.
They also might have wanted instead to maybe banish a dark and they couldn't ban. Yeah, they could have banished the Sangan and the Exiled Force. This way, they can't like premature the Exiled Force back.
That's all I can say.
It was a tribe, so I guess your priority kick the. Oh wow, you have to get both here. So you just
have
use
to
it
discard
twice.
both cards. I think
So it doesn't matter which one you do first.
you're
because
dead to
we're
Ring
both-
of Destruction. Declaring Spellcaster. See if it resolves.
I prefer to do that too. Well, you are.
I wonder if that set card right now is a Book of Moon, considering how much time Mobius is taking to think about chaining to Tribe Infecting Virus's effect. And if it is Book of Moon, what do you Book of Moon, the Tribe or the Kaiku, since he called Spellcaster?
The tribe. I would book it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, definitely the tribe infecting virus for sure. Because at least Blade Knight can follow up and take out tribe infecting virus, assuming Savetta doesn't have another card in hand to deal with it.
Yeah,
Then
I
that
think
is
they're
the book
forced to do it on the tribe.
Mobius agrees.
Like you just have to.
We still have to ask the obvious questions here.
No, but Mobius did take a moment to think about it.
It did. They did. And again, it might seem obvious to us, maybe not to everyone who's watching. Of course, this is why we have to explain every single move, even though it seems self-evident. Now, the real question is, does Savetta have a follow-up? Mirror Force hasn't been played yet.
All right, Mirror Force, Torrential, Scapegoat. Nope,
Nope.
it's over.
Well, there we go. It's unfortunate for Civetta. So that puts the grand finals as KL versus Mobius. Before we get onto that match, I just wanted to actually have a quick look at Civetta's deck. So here it is. I will screenshot commentating for you as well. So
Thank you.
So that you...
Yeah, I tried to find the deck list in the back room, but just kind of got flooded by all the GFC deck lists.
Yeah, I know. I'd like to get on a better system if possible, but
No, it's fine. If someone has them centralized, it's just like when I was trying to do it on my own, I was like, let's lie.
United we stand.
yes,
Cool.
that's.
Oh yeah, I think I remember seeing this tech when I was watching some of these games earlier. I like some of the ideas that this deck does, but like, man, does it just look kind of messy everywhere.
I think it's cool.
I like it.
I don't mind it.
Just aesthetically, it looks messy. All the one-ups.
Yeah. What about United We Stand though? What does that really combo with, or is it just to get that
Scapegoat?
extra damage in?
Triple Scapegoat.
Yeah.
Make your dude a billion.
It's not like the same way as it works for like Mataza or something though.
Wait, Rost, are you telling me that you haven't tried the Triple Scapegoat United we stand deck?
You could just equip it to a goat, and that's like,
Yeah, that's 36.
yeah, that kills a
Have you never done that?
No.
BLS.
I have
What?
not done that.
I
mean,
thought you
like,
were the one playing the wacky decks and I was the one doing the meta things.
Eventually.
No, Scapegoat United we stand. That's a very cultured deck
Oh.
building tip.
Definitely cultured. I respect
Uh,
anyone who plays this.
Another thing you could do is play Kotetsu, Iron Blacksmith, a flip monster that adds equips. It's a pretty good card because it can add Premature and Snatch Steal, but you would really like to have a third target so that there's almost always a target left in the deck, and that's where United We Stand comes into the picture.
That's right. You could also play something like Megamorph,
Okay, I like the blue.
because like if you're up in life, you could make something small with Megamorph, or if you're down, you could just double the attack of like your BLS.
That's also a cool way of using it. And another card that is good with Premature Burial is Abyss Soldier, which is also pretty good with Big Bang Shot.
Yeah,
So
Big
a
Bang
lot
Shot.
of brewing potential there. Not that I would ever touch any of these filthy casual decks.
I remember equipping a Big Bang Shot to a Sure Priest all the time and
Yeah, you could
smacking
do
all
that.
the scapegoats. I stole many a game doing that play.
That's it. I'm building this goat control deck that plays equips as well.
The only turnoff to running Iron Blacksmith Kotetsu is because it's not a light or a dark, so it doesn't feel the Chaos Engine. I think that's the only reason why people didn't play it.
It's also level 2. unfortunately.
Yes, it is, which doesn't really help the cause for Metamorphosis either.
I remember seeing the one time I remember seeing it played is when ACP and Chris Perovic have that like best of 7 match that's on YouTube.
Oh, the one that's like several hours long.
Yeah, well, not
He gets
several hours.
clipped in
But
that? I don't remember this happening.
yeah, no, but this is like ages ago. We're talking upwards of 5 years, I think. Maybe like in 2013.
I've seen it, but I don't remember everything in it.
Yeah, that's the one thing that stood out to me is one copy of Iron Blacksmith and Big Bang Shot played on ACP's side.
Yeah, that's what I had to figure his ACP side because I knew Chris's deck going into that.
Okay, I've got it here. It's almost 2 hours long, and it's best of 7, and it's 5 years old. Almost exactly.
Like, you wouldn't find a best of 5 happening nowadays, really, would you? It's that everyone's obsessed with best of 3s only, and if you have to do more than that, you play 3 matches rather than best of 5, because that was never a thing.
Yeah, I would agree. Best of 3 would be the longer format.
Okay, I am going to now screenshot Dill's deck, and we can discuss that as well, because we can talk about his side deck, most importantly, for Nobleman Extermination, etc.
We're still waiting on them to reconnect and set up?
I think like they just want to break. Then they won't be long.
problem.
They won't be long. But there we go. That is Delicious's deck.
Okay, so can I go first?
Go ahead.
Sure, so we see the Flips main deck, and this is also played by AJT BLS, who is right now #1 on the Dueling Book ladder, in using their account Sit Chair, I think it's called. And it's become more and more popular to include flips in the main deck in Warriors. The one thing that stands out regarding the main deck is the 2 copies of Magic Drain. What do you guys think of those?
Like I said before, I mean, it's gonna trade 1 for 1, right? You're either gonna get a spell out of the hand, or you're gonna get the spell that you're trying to counter. So, if you look at it that way, it doesn't seem too bad. But I don't think I would want to include 2 copies of it in my deck. Maybe if I want to tech 1. I still think Magic Jammer is just a little bit better in most scenarios, because if you're flipping this card, you want to counter the spell that you want to counter, right?
For sure, yeah.
But if
I
you
agree.
like, if they discard a card, that means like they're gonna get whatever spell effect is resolving. Unless you really want to like do it on a pot of greed to make the pot of greed worse.
I like what you said there, what you first said, that it's good at trading 1 for 1, because this deck is running a lot of ways to trade 1 for 1 with monsters, but it struggles a bit with trading for the spells. But yeah, Magic Drain not commonly seen, and for good reason. It would be cool to see if more people start experimenting with this card, because it is a card that pops up here and there.
Like, I don't think it's necessarily bad, but I think that. What do I think? I think that there's just like, I think I'd rather just play like Dust Tornado, because I'll be able to Dust Tornado like a back row that I'll be able to win the game from potentially. You know, like.
I think as well, like playing Magic Drain is almost dependent on how confident you can get them to down to like the top decking wars too, because because obviously the less cards they have in their hand, the more likely your Magic Drain is gonna negate the spell that you intend it to negate.
Because you don't want to ever have to solemn like a Graceful Charity.
Yeah.
But sometimes you do, because like you're so ahead, or like if they play that Graceful Charity or to resolve, then it could potentially like you could lose, right? So you're just like, oh, I'll just solemn it here because I don't want them to see extra cards. Like you much rather Magic Drain that, so that it's either they're discarding a card already if they have another one in hand, or if they don't have anything to discard, then you just get that Graceful Charity countered.
I would also consider the kind of decks that you're using as well, if you want to use Magic Drain or not. Like if you're using like Dawn's Luke and maybe Spirit Reaper, like a bunch of those cards that are just meant to rip out cards in your hand, you don't mind playing Magic Drain because you're stripping more cards. Like that's your
Yeah.
whole point. So I would think it also depend on the play style as well, because again, if you're playing with Dawn's Luke and Reaper and keep like throwing away cards, that means they're gonna have less cards to be able to discard. And Magic Drain either is gonna be free or they're gonna put them in a very hurting position if they decide to negate it as well. So again, I believe it's just the style of deck that you want to play. I definitely wouldn't want to play it in every deck, but for sure, like those control decks or where I'm just trying to be like fast and aggressive, like I would play Magic Drain.
It makes all the sense in the world to play it in this style of deck that Dill has.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, also, you got me thinking that when I play against warriors, I try to dodge dust shoots, so I set my spell and traps.
Yeah.
Also, I try to use my dead noblemans to bait dust tornadoes and MST, so I set those as well. So usually I'm not playing around Heavy Storm because the warrior player has a bunch of set cards. So using that logic, maybe you just very often don't have any spells in your hand to discard.
Yeah,
I just look at it. I just look at the perspective of if I'm playing Magic Drain, I'm not using it to try to negate spells. I'm using it to try to whittle down their resources as opposed to control the game with it. If it does negate, then that would be a bonus in my mind. But if it doesn't, then I would just be fine with the discard as well, depending on the situation.
Didn't we see him use it on Book of Moon or something?
Yes.
And like, they're using it to make that Book of Moon basically cost a card out of the hand.
Mm-hmm.
And specifically a spell card, which is most people can't play spell cards that they're freely just gonna discard.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah,
so
there's not a lot of dead spell cards that be played. I think maybe No Across It might be your most quote unquote dead card that you would play, that you would discard via Magic Drain.
But then again, this deck plays flips, so yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, it does make some sense. It's very cool to see. What were you gonna say, Rost?
I was just going to say I've told them to begin. They hasn't begun yet, so do continue. But be ready to jump back in.
I just wanted to comment actually on another card in the side deck, Zamira. I think this card is actually pretty decent in these warrior decks, especially ones if you're playing like Chaos Sorcerer or BLS on top of your warrior package. Just because we've seen so much Gravekeeper Spy in the format to try to combat warriors.
Mm-hmm.
This card is a searchable answer to a face-up spell. And I really
Great
like
point.
that.
Yeah. Well, think it's an out to Spy, it's an out to Blade Knight who's been powered up. It's an out to a defense mode Chaos Sorcerer, which often is done because we use Chaos Sorcerer more for the removal than rather attacking, unless it's for game.
I mean, I think people have wised up with Ninja Grandmaster running around, but this does the same kind of job as Ninja Grandmaster.
It does.
You could claim it's a Grandmaster that also deals with Blade Knight.
It's also a searchable dark with Rhoda. Because most
Yeah,
of
we
these decks
don't
don't
have
have
too
any
many
other
of those.
searchable darks besides what's it called? Besides Donzalug.
Yeah, and I remember that when I played Warrior, I had a Sambira, and I just swapped the Donsalug for the Sambira when siding against Warriors.
Yeah.
I just think, even if it takes down one monster in battle, it's still beefy at 1900 attack, which gets over almost majority of monsters just outside of a beefed up Breaker and a beefed up Blade Knight. So it still has hefty attack even after taking down one monster.
If it takes out one spy, I feel like it's done its job pretty well.
Yeah.
So the game is live.
You can reset it with Book of Moon too.
It makes no sense. This little T10 spot.
Also lets you play Deck Devastation Virus in your side deck, which is a nice tech.
Come on, Kate.
If you really want to go down that route.
Hey, it's a good card, I think.
I love Deck Dev. I love it.
Customize it.
So T-set from Mobius to start off. KL's going to set 3 back rows into the monster of his own. So KO's on the burn strategy. We'll see if Mobius can beat them down before they get burned out here.
Oh, if that was a giant rat running into that Donsalug, that would have been so bad for
That would
KL.
have been so bad for KL.
And yeah,
It
okay.
was the giant rat. Gonna get
Yeah,
Nobleman instead.
They avoided it. That was good. I mean, maybe the play from KL was to summon Rat Pass. Maybe that was the play. Because why do you actually set the Rat?
Yeah, against something that you're setting across from Mobius's deck, it's like that's either gonna be Don Zalug or DD Warrior Lady.
Yeah, and the Rat is quite safe when it's face up, apart from like Exile Force. But when face down, it can be picked off by Nobleman, or even worse,
Yeah.
Mystic Swordsman level 2, if that is in Mobius main deck.
Just made the card live for Mobius's side. And Don Zalug poked in, got the Panda out of the hand. So now KL's going to force to set the card that he kept in his hand before after drawing a monster, it looks like. And MST picks up the fresh set.
I like
And that's just a Book of Moon.
the lilies and the roses, and then I don't actually have a 5-star island. Stole David's lilies out of the valley twice now. You come over here, I'll show you where they are.
See if Mobius can now break through whatever this monster may be. Well, Descoella's got 1800 defense. It doesn't matter to Nobleman have crossed out.
Oh
Ooh,
my!
Morphing Jar, card that could have got KL back into the duel.
Okay, so this explains setting the Rat to bait out the Nobleman so that the Morphing Jar is fine. But
All
there
right.
was the double Nobleman.
So Geometrio comes.
Ooh.
But
Oh!
Mobius is going to use a main deck Solemn Judgment here. Going to pay down the 4,000.
They showed me an
He
experience
pays 4,000 against Burn.
Well,
What a Chad move.
it's not terrible. Now, does he call top 2? Not going to call top 2.
as well.
But is going to
That's
banish
like
the
a
Panda.
missed value not calling top 2.
I've seen you not call top 2 before.
Yeah, I never call top 2.
Yeah, and
I mean, you should always call top 2.
I feel like you're making a joke here, but we'll see
I
if
mean,
that top card does anything versus Mobius here, if
against
he was right or
KL,
not. Hey,
you
look, it was a Geometrio, and he's got 2 burn cards down. So maybe you should have called top 2.
There we go. Just asserts, just asserts. GG.
Secret Barrel will do it too, I think. Let me do the quick math.
Secret Barrel plus just asserts. That's enough.
Ring of Destruction will do it. What's more important though, is that Mobius wasn't able to add an additional monster board.
Yep. Oh,
Graceful Charity off the rip.
could be game.
Well, digging for some a game shot, yeah.
And once again, we saw Don Saluk not milling the Graceful Charity.
People just don't want to mill the top 2 cards, and they get punished for it every time we see it happen.
Oh.
I mean, here's what would have happened: is that if he did mill top 2, it would have hit Graceful, and what else would it hit?
Side of the room.
And
Well, one of those 3.
we don't know. It would mill in between there, so it would have definitely hit the Graceful though. If the
In my mind, it would definitely have hit Level Limit and Graceful. I think we can all agree on that. So how does Mobius out these goats? I can't think of too much.
He
Ring?
doesn't really have anything right now that can do it, because all of his stuff is monster base removal, that like he has to summon a monster and then remove it.
So Mobius can't do anything unless we draw Typhoon, Dust Tornado, Ring.
Heavy Storm. I mean, they could, if
Storm,
they
yeah,
ring,
right.
it's a weird spot. I guess they could do like ring on their own token. Never mind.
You can torrential if you have to, but again, that's a heavy loss. But it's something you'd have to take.
He can't torrential. He doesn't have a summon.
You can't
No,
summon.
assuming his opponent summons.
Oh,
There
I
could
don't
be a
think,
Gyak. The Gyak could be a Gyakugiri Panda coming down.
I don't think KL's gonna summon unless they have something to protect their summon with. like a
yeah,
solemn of their own, but
unlikely scenario. But again, you never know what's going to happen here.
Yeah, KL is the burn player. They know
flipping a
what they're
barrel.
doing. Here we go. That's 2,000. Yeah.
Yeah, that's 2,000, and then another barrel will do it, or just desserts.
All right. But Mobius could have a judgment.
They could have a judgment to only make it 1,000, whatever burn card they have. Okay, but they're going to chain another secret barrel to it. Okay, so this way doesn't really matter what if Mobius has
That's game.
a solemn. Jeez, imagine if you use the other effect of Donzaluk.
Yeah, what a misplay.
Mm-hmm. I can see the arguments that people will make when you're playing like a chaos deck, right? Or like a deck that plays Sinister Serpent, that you don't want to mill them into chaos, or you don't want to mill them into Sinister, stuff like that. But if you're playing against Burn, get rid of all their cards. They can't burn you.
Yeah, I mean, if you mill them out, you win, right? You just gotta get there, 2 cards at a time.
All their best cards do direct damage to you, right? So like,
Yeah.
if they don't draw any of those cards, they can't win.
So by milling them, they can't draw them.
They
Perfect.
can't draw them. They're in their graveyard.
But to be honest, can you see any disadvantage in this matchup to milling? Because I can't really think of any. Because because I think I would just mill to gain information. I don't know how this burn deck is built.
Yeah, I don't think there's any disadvantage for you not milling here.
But then again, the advantage is ever so small, and the disadvantage could be there. That could be significant. So,
I mean, I could think of maybe like if they play Call the Haunted of their own and Premature Burial, but in that particular game state, they're at like 200.
also, those cards are very unlikely to be in the deck.
All I know is that those 2 mills definitely mattered because he wouldn't have hit the Ojama, and then he wouldn't have hit the Graceful right back to back. If he milled the first time, it would have been it would have been Ojama Graceful that he would have got rid of.
Yeah.
And then he draws
Jokes
into
aside, Mobius went for the play that I think most people would argue is correct. But this
I'm
time
not
it did
joking.
cost
That's
me.
the thing. People think
You're not
I'm
joking?
here. I think you should mill with Don in this matchup. You absolutely should.
I guess you reduce the giant rat toolbox. Okay, Mobius on the play here with Graceful Charity.
Garrett's
Yeah, I mean,
Blade
hey,
Knight. Set up
you
a
might
guard.
mill all their Ojama trios.
You mill all their burn cards, so they can't kill you. How do they win without burn cards?
Flawless.
You're the Chaos Warrior deck. You have like a billion soccer. You have not a billion, but you got soccer. You got Mirror Force. They can't attack you with their dumb pandas.
But what if I mill their pandas and they draw their burn cards?
Touche, but I still think you go for it.
Alright, so we see Graceful discarding 2 monsters, one being a light monster and one being a dark monster. What does this mean?
This means that those cards are not as good as the 1 card left in Mobius's hand.
It also means that in the future, maybe we could see a Blackluster Soldier or a Chaos Sorcerer come down.
That is true.
Well, you also have to remember that, if Chaos playing a burn deck, the monsters have a lot less utility against them. You'd want more spell and trap cards to be able to contend with a burn deck like this. So it's not odd to see 2 monsters get discarded, especially with a monster backlogged hand.
Definitely.
level limit area B, and passing. Kind of risky. If any of those cards was like MST or Dust Tornado.
Yeah, it is very risky, like you say. That was so likely to happen as well.
There is Dust Tornado as well. And then
And here
reinforces
comes level
the army.
2.
Yeah, level 2 seems like the right choice.
Yeah, because I think that's very often going to be Giant Rat.
And it gets on their level limit.
Sure.
Future level limits.
Here we
Gravity
go.
Binds. Didn't set another card though before, so only 16. So maybe another monster in like a chaos? I don't know. Maybe not chaos, but Heavy Storm.
I doubt there was a better time
So,
to play it.
oh, do you solemn here? No, you don't.
Well, they accidentally flipped their
he
widespread
does.
ruin, so
Whoa.
click on that one.
What a Chad. Wait. Oh, no.
I don't think that was a Chad move. I think that was just misclicking your card.
Yeah, no, that's.
I mean, potentially the play was like Exile Force attack the level 2, then pop the other one. But now that they know it's widespread, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, showing the
Gonzalez just gonna get
widespread
in
might
here.
have cost them there.
Do you think that paying the 4,000 life points was worth saving a widespread rune against a burn deck?
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I think I would have let it go.
Yeah,
This-
but he's a Chad. He doesn't
This
care.
hand is super slow, it looks like. Because he didn't set anything on top of the level limit.
He knows he's got the widespread ruin.
Yeah, just can't attack.
This turned into such a weird game now. So, Blade Knight set the card.
It's crazy
Would
how
be good.
what accidental information may do when you
Yep.
change the game state. Well,
Oh.
another Rhoda will pick up Exile Force, get rid of this little Kaiko. Actually, if they get
I think Blade Knight
instead, yeah.
I would go Blade Knight because it also shuts off Ojama Trio as well in case that happens. So I would go Blade Knight, set a card, unless
if
on,
they
you
have
might
a card
be
to
able
set, yeah.
yeah, if they have the card to set, yeah, definitely. I would assume so, especially with Heavy Storm gone. They also have the security of being able to set another card as well.
Well, they didn't do it the other turn where
Yeah,
they could have.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely
I
could have.
agree.
Oh, okay. So maybe they are monster logged.
Yeah, they have 2 monsters in their hand.
Oh.
It's still not bad to get Exile Force. You're dealing 23 here, getting another card out of their hand.
Desk Koala. Also, could we comment on KL running Kaiku?
I mean, they saw light and dark cards. It can deal with light and dark cards.
Cool.
A lot of the monsters are not bigger than 18 besides Blade Knight.
So,
Tribe discarding Kaiko Call Warrior. Not gonna attack though.
you could attack. But you
Trade with
probably
the
shouldn't.
widespread ruin?
Yeah,
To
you
the
probably
widespread?
shouldn't.
I wouldn't. Although Mobius should
Right.
have 2 monsters in their hand, but maybe nothing to help the situation.
Unless they're like noblemen's, but it would have just
Could
sent
be
the
Dust Shoots that were waiting to discard to Graceful, but I don't think you want Dust Shoot
They've
in this
already
matchup.
discarded stuff to Graceful.
Oh yeah, that's true. Cool.
Well, finally attacked and got rid of the widespread ruin. Now it's just draw go.
Attacking
I mean,
attacking into that widespread ruin must make you think that KL's like set card in the middle zone has to be very important for defense. Maybe I don't know if it's a scapegoat or anything like that, but it has to be some kind of protection.
could
Maybe
be
Gravity
Gravity
Bind?
Bind. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very weird game.
It is, but when you play against burn decks, you have to play a lot differently from what you play your standard beatdown deck.
For sure.
Card
So
advantage doesn't always tell a tale here.
So what is Mobius considering here? In my mind, they could be thinking of dropping a Chaos Monster, or whether to save it to plus off of it before doing so.
I mean, again, since KL attacked with Tribe Infecting Virus, knowing that the widespread rune is down, there has to be some form of easy protection that's got to follow it up. So if I were Mobius, I would try to, maybe set something up. Maybe it could be a Magician of Faith, for all we know, to probably fetch something back and able to dig further. But I doubt they'd want to summon a monster to be able to attack. It is awfully tempting.
Oh,
Mobius slipping Heavy Storm.
this could be it.
Chaining MST.
Might as well. So this should be game.
I mean, tributing for Mobius. Okay.
Makes sense. So Mobius
Mobius playing Mobius.
playing Mobius to win the game.
I would
The
hope so.
namesake card.
Now we're heading into game 3.
So did we see anything surprising? I thought the Kaiko was a bit surprising from KL.
I can see why, considering Mobius was running a bunch of little weenie monsters in that game, like Mystic Swordsman level 2 and Don Zalug, and Kaiko can kind of at least run it over. I think it was maybe it's a surprise factor, considering when you play against Burn, you tend to start siding out some cards that are like a battle, like battle traps, like Sacrets or Widespread. Even though that wasn't the case for Mobius, so maybe KL was thinking, okay, maybe I can kind of sneak one in there.
But Mobius saw like Panda and Giant Rat, which have attack points and can attack.
Which they do. Yep.
It's not unreasonable to keep your Sakuretsus in.
No, definitely isn't. It's just a possible train of thought that could have been in place for Kaiku. I don't know why else they would summon it, but that was just one potential reason why.
I don't think Kaiku's that terrible if they're going to try to use like littler guys than Big Blade Knight.
Also, a bit curious is that we saw the widespread rune. So, do you guys think that implies that all 3 of the Sakuretsu armor are still in there? Or is this a mind game that you bring out the 2 of the Sakuretsus, let's say, but you keep in the widespread just to keep them on their toes?
No, I think you would keep the Sakus then and add an additional widespread rune to try to deal with stuff like Panda and stuff like Injection Fairy Lily.
The other argument you can also make is that Nobleman Extermination being sided against you is that if you get rid of all the Sakuretsus, you're left with no battle traps after that outside of Mirror Force. So having that widespread
Nobleman of Extermination. That was last game.
We haven't. That's again. I'm just offering different possibilities for it. I'm not saying that's definitely the case, but that's just one theory.
So here I think we have an interesting situation. This time around, KL decided to summon the Giant Rat in attack mode rather than setting it as we did last time, running into the Nobleman. Do you guys think this implies that there is no Cyber Jar or Morphing Jar in KL's hand? Because I think that was the logic between setting it last time to bait out the Nobleman so that the jar could go through.
Here's Kaiko from KL. At least he's gonna think on this one. If he wants to torrential, potentially book.
Yeah, I think torrential is the only card you'd think about here. Because you're not going to judgment this, right? I mean, it's possible.
I highly doubt it, considering the only card in there is Exiled Force. Not the worst thing to be banished if it does. I mean, you can't recur it, but not the worst thing to happen. And not to mention that Mobius would have a lot of cards to be able to contend with a Kaiku, especially with Triple Blade Knight.
The says use the book, So I think this implies that there's a swordsman. Could also be nobleman, but
Now we got
So-
Breaker, which is going to be a
Yes.
book of its own.
I know that Kaiko is a bit of an issue, but I guess you have your battle traps.
Another reason why maybe he'd book the Kaiku is because he has some kind of recursion card like Premature Burial or Call of the Haunted to be able to access that exiled force.
Yep.
Could be another potential reason why he decided to play Book of Moon.
That's a common theme when playing warrior decks, that we're often going to strive towards getting their exile force into the graveyard early on, so that later on, when we draw those recursion cards, as you're saying, they are live.
Kaiko's going to get Noblemen of Crossed Out.
Gets a taste of his own medicine there.
Getting banished for himself.
And I think that's a crossout that KL does not mind at all taking a hit because it allows a safer pass for any other flip effects that might come about, even though that Mobius is well prepared for it with the Warrior toolbox that it is with Mystic Swordsman level 2. And, of course, another crossout. But at least that's just one less out to feel a little bit safer when setting a monster.
Yeah. So KL is looking at a face down breaker, which does look quite juicy if he has something to run it over with.
Panda.
Heavy Storm.
Heavy Storm, Chain Geometria. Let's try it.
Looks good. So yeah, it was the Torrential. So that's
Oh, it
what
was
we were
Call,
thinking
okay.
about before on the Kaiko summon.
Giant
there's the
Rat
rat.
instead.
Perfect.
That's a good one too.
And there's
And-
no chaos for Mobius.
Yeah, and KL's up in cards.
No light in the graveyard.
Mobius is going to set both of them here.
And this is quite
Soon.
bad for Mobius if I start taking damage from the actual monsters from KL.
Yeah, that's free damage. Not a ton, but every point of life matters in this kind of matchup.
Do you think that Heavy Storm was worth it on KL's end, considering that a Call of the Haunted of the Graveyard, which could bring back Giant Rat?
Yeah, I like it
I
because
think
you
so.
can run over the breaker. I think the
It
body
put
is
Mobius
worth a lot.
on one card at the time.
Wait, is no, never mind. Okay, cool.
The Moon. From the hand too.
Sweet.
Keep that monster on the board. Can't really deal with it by battle. Find a card effect to not trigger that recruiter effect of Giant Rat. Another set from Mobius, so KL still has to navigate through 3 set cards. He got through the first 2 with a rat poke, but the next one that Mobius drew was that widespread.
There were a lot of outs that Mobius could have top decked to get rid of that.
He doesn't need to be afraid of Torrential anymore, but he still needs to be wary of Mirror Force. KL does.
If you're Mobius here, I think you just flip the Mirror Force, right?
Yeah, against this kind of deck, I think you'd have a lot more liberty in popping battle traps, especially with Mirror Force on one monster, because there's not a whole lot of attacking that goes on to begin with, and you don't want a Giant Rat open up, especially when it can crash into like cards like Dawn's Lug and whatnot. You just want to be able to strike directly as much as you can if you're playing a Warrior Toolbox against Burn.
So I think that short
Set
pause
card
from
KL.
Mobius on the attack was a bit interesting. Maybe that's just a bluff, or maybe it actually is a Mirror Force one.
That's kind of scary if it's Morphing Jar.
Or Cyber Jar. Well, okay, no.
Cyber Jar is
Morphing
not as
Jar.
scary. Morphing Jar is
Yeah,
way
yeah,
more
sure,
scary.
sure. You're right. Top deck Sakuretsu.
Good enough for me.
This board
So-
is very ironic from what we're seeing. Typically, you would see like the burn player have a bunch of back row and no monsters, and it'd be the aggro player with a monster on board. But it's the complete opposite in this case.
This is where Burn wants to be versus this deck.
So what's the set monster? Is it a panda?
He could be a panda, could be a koala.
Oh yeah,
Could
koala.
could be another rat too.
Yeah,
I believe they also play Sangen as well, so
Yeah.
KL could have one set.
sure. Could be anything.
Could be anything. But again, we've already seen Ring of Destruction and Torrential Tribute go by, and several battle traps. So I think it would have been okay for Sangen to be face up and just help go aggro with the giant rat. My guess is it could be a Magician of Faith.
Mobius found a monster here after discarding Snatch Steal and Widespread. See what this monster may be. It was just Panda. Not big enough to defend itself from Kaiko.
I guess that means that the set cards from KL are not battle traps, not gravity bind.
One of them is Snatch Steal. See if this prompts a response from Mobius. Looks like we're getting stolen. So if this goes through, it's only a virtual 800 because 1,000 life points are going to come back to Mobius, but it's not going to go through.
Yeah,
And
we did
Mirror
have the
Force.
Mirror Force. So we chose not to use it on the rat.
I mean, that Snatch Steal was basically a twofer.
Yeah,
And
that's my favorite kind of
it.
Snatch Steal.
Again, protecting that exiled force from being banished until the Mobius really wants to keep that utility open for it in case it gets a recursion card. Because exiled force is very valuable against burn decks.
I think it more
Very good
valuable
point.
was just not taking 1,800 points to the face.
That too.
Well, as you were saying, it only really deals 800 a turn.
Yeah, but you could, in theory, in response to like Snatch Steal triggering, you could do like some kind of burn shenanigans where that 18 does actually
Sure,
come
definitely.
out. Can do stuff during the end phase as well if they choose so, or main phase 2, however they want to sequence it.
So we're thinking on the flip, which implies Solemn Judgment, unless it is a bluff. But yeah, you're not flipping Judgment here.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't know. Seems really bad. 37. Very precarious positioning here. And then
I wonder
another
if one
set
of
card.
these pauses from Mobius eventually is going to be a bluff. Because up until now, every time they have paused, they have had the card that would make you pause. So maybe we're giving away a bit too much information if they keep doing this without bluff pausing every
Hot
now and
agreed
then.
off the top.
The other
Gonna try to dig out of this.
The other ironic thing about this is that KL has yet to do any effect damage to Mobius at all. This has all been battle damage at this point in time, which is very odd. I haven't seen a single bird card come down at all from KL. So
And that's super dangerous because Mobius is getting low. So if they draw into more bird, Kinetic Soldier getting run over by Swordsman. That would have been great if it was like any other warrior, just would have done a ton of damage.
Man, if only Ceasefire came into play on that attack.
Oh, if Ceasefire was there, that would have been crazy. Well, that would have been game.
15 plus
18,
a lot.
It's like 29.
15 plus 29. 15 plus 29, so that would have been 34. That would have been game, but that would have been a lot of damage.
No, 15 plus 29 is 44.
4. Oh, wait. Oh, my God. How did I get that math wrong?
I had to calculate. Like, I had to use my calculator. So.
Set Smashing Ground. Is that to bait the tornado? Or is it to play around duo?
I think you're fine if they duo you, but you kind of want them to pay the extra 1,000.
I'm not sure how much burn we're running after side.
Possibly could have took out a lot of burn, yeah. Just as a
Could
beatdown
be
deck
that
now.
we have cut a lot of burn.
Magic Cylinder. Nope, just gonna trade with this Blade Knight here. Take the 500. You're okay with that, I think.
This still has to be an infuriating situation for Mobius, considering they're getting beat down by KL, who's running a burn deck, and yet they've been controlling the game with monster presence. And Mobius just can't get anything going on here with monsters. But there hasn't been a lot of offense coming from Mobius either.
Tribe Infecting Virus. Mobius is gonna think about this one.
Yeah, I mean, we're heavily implying that there's a Solemn Judgment.
Ring of Destruction as well.
I think that's been used.
Oh no, it's already been used.
Yeah.
It was hit with Heavy Storm.
Yeah.
The Ring of
Heavy
Destruction,
and
the Torrential Tribute.
Got Torrential too, yep.
In exchange.
I mean,
for
if you don't have a
Oh.
battle trap, I think you just have to flip the judgment, right? If you can't beat the tribe.
Yeah, you're pretty much taking the life points either way. It's either take 16 or take 15, 50, and take out the tribe.
Well, down to 15 now. So ring from KL slide is lethal. Another attack from tribe is lethal.
I wonder if Mobius is holding on to a Mobius.
Yeah. And just doesn't have another monster, yeah. Alright, here's an attack. Got a Book
It's
of
a
Moon.
book.
Do we have anything in response? Nope. It's gonna set and delay a turn. KL going to main phase 2, gonna set another monster.
No Mirror Force, no Torrential.
No Mirror Force and no Torrential.
So
Third
on one
back
flip
row
summon,
again.
they have to flip the judgment.
They gotta.
If there is one, maybe we're just bluffing.
Judgment gets it down to 750, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's only 600 from Secret Barrel.
There we go. So I wonder
So-
if there's a second judgment.
I think you have to flip the next monster that you have, try to poke, and then... Oh, well, Kaiko does that as well.
You'd want them if you have a backup monster to be able to take them down.
I
you definitely
think
want
you
that
gotta
first
flip
person
this
to do it.
monster here.
I don't see any downside.
Unless it's not big enough to deal...
Yep.
No, it's a good one.
Pretty good one.
Well, that's going to deal an additional 400. So, like, now Secret Barrel just will win the game.
I think this is over. Yeah.
No,
There we go.
it's just over.
Cool.
Man, those down cards are so scary because they could have been burn stuff, or it could have been like Lucas was saying, just battle trap stuff like Sakuretsu or whatever.
That was the first burn damage that came out of that entire game.
Yeah.
And it didn't even matter.
I love KL.
Just got beat
Such
down.
a cool guy.
Yeah, well, that did end as predicted by, I think, everyone, actually.
I think we all were riding for KL at this.
Yeah, so, well, congratulations to KL.
Yeah,
just
now
'cause
qualified for Go for World Championships.
Yeah, for sure. So we've got a bit to discuss. I'm gonna get both Mobius and KL on for interview. I'll start off with Mobius, and then we can discuss his deck, and then I'll get KL on, and we can discuss his deck. In the meantime, while I'm setting that up, do you want to perhaps do some self-promotion for yourself? Or not?
Anyone want to do shameless plugs? Going once, going twice.
Right, this is my time to shine. If you guys like Yu-Gi-Oh! Podcasts, well, look no further than my podcast, the Gate Expectations Podcast. It is the only Yu-Gi-Oh! Podcast that is run by a full-fledged journalist such as myself. So if you guys would like to check out several podcasts, I also have many GOAT format player podcasts on there. Chris Perovic is on there, Dale Bolito's on there, Paul Leviton's on there, for example, and even one was Scully himself, too. That was recent. That was the one who kicked off season 2 earlier this year. So if you guys like listening to podcasts, check no further than my podcast, the Gate Expectations Podcast. You'll find that on Gate Guardian 44 on YouTube. And again, thank you for everybody who has supported me so far, especially you guys. You guys have also had a hand in helping support my podcast as well. And thank you guys for doing so.
Hey, I'm a listener. I'm a big fan.
Shall we not forget Dueling on Earth as well?
Dueling on Earth coming soon. Be on the lookout for any drops for Dueling on Earth.
Well, that was short and sweet.
Well, it's a process right now. We're don't want to reveal too much just yet on what I'm planning for it, but I have to do a lot of work still, and hopefully we'll make it pretty cool and you guys like it. So I'm excited to get it out there finally, and yeah, Dueling on Earth.
Alright then, last but not least, 5 days ago I decided that instead of writing a page-long paragraph when analyzing a replay of my friend, I thought I'd do a video instead. So now I have a YouTube channel, which you can check out if you would like to see some instructional, educational GOAT format gameplay. Mostly the games are played between strong players in match with serious incentives to win, where I'm commentating and going along, reacting to the plays made, trying to predict what we're going to do.
Okay. Yeah, he's only got like 10 subscribers, and I think that is like a travesty.
No. I have 12 now.
Oh, 12. Oh, well, there we go then. But, well, I'm going to get Mobius on now. I have got to do some of Go Format plugging elsewhere. But, hi, Mobius. How are you doing? Congratulations on coming second.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm a little tilted, but I'm alright.
Well, why not? I mean, I understand. You've obviously worked very hard, and you've kind of tripped at the finish line almost.
Yeah. I
have no doubt you'll qualify for Worlds, though. You've got time, and you've been a consistent performer throughout. So.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Yeah.
It was kind of rough there in that last match. By nature I'm more of a conservative player, but I realized in the last game that I lost that I had to kind of push it, but I just didn't have the cards to do it. So I was kind of forced to set back row to kind of bluff that I had something to make him not push, but he wasn't buying it and just kept pushing with rats, and eventually it was just too much. So.
Yeah, well, we've got your deck up here on screen. I don't know if the rest of the guys have got the deck ready, but
I'll screenshot.
Sorry, what's that, Lucas?
I can screenshot it.
Yeah, okay.
Give me 5 seconds.
So I can see your side deck. It looks very heavily sided against aggro. I'm guessing that's what you were expecting to see, right?
Yeah, I was basically anticipating half of the bracket to be Warrior, so I sided heavily for Warrior, and then I just kind of sided the Mobiuses. I realized with my deck, Mobius was so much more risky to side in against Warrior, because if they have a Solemn, it's a minus, and then you don't have a monster on board. So I essentially would side one Mobius if I was going first and was feeling it, I'd side it. But otherwise, the Mobiuses were more so for decks like the Rat OTK or Burn, Stall, things of that nature. But yeah, the rest was basically geared towards Warrior, and then my main deck was basically built to beat Chaos Control, Chaos Turbo, things of that nature.
Alrighty, so was there anyone in particular who you were fearing against facing outside of probably KL?
Yeah, KL was the big one. I was hoping that I wouldn't have to play KL till the end, which did end up happening, but it was just too much. It's hard. You you want to save the solemns for like True Nade, things of that nature when you're playing that deck, but he almost forces you or she. I think it's a he, right? Is it KL?
I think Kale's a dude. They them. You can do to be.
Yeah, so you want to save the solemns for the big push, but if you don't draw enough cards to put on board to kind of pin them, you have to solemn things that they're using to push against you. So I don't know, it just makes it really rough. So, but yeah, KL was the big one. The rest of the 4, I was pretty comfortable with playing any of them. But yeah.
So sorry for interrupting, but did you mention Giant True Nade?
Yeah, I hadn't saw it, but I wasn't sure if.
So did
KL
you put
played.
them on Rescue Cat?
What's that?
Did you put them on the Rescue Cat deck, or?
Yeah, that's because I saw his game earlier and I knew that he was playing. So I wasn't sure if he was playing Cat or not. I just hadn't had enough information, so I pinned it as Cat. So, I mean, a lot of his games ended fairly quickly, so he was maybe halfway through his deck a lot of games. So I wasn't sure if he just didn't draw it, what he was playing, if he was siding it out games 2, 3. So
I'm not sure if it was him in the past, but he had. I've seen a player that I played against him who's done a similar strategy where they sided out of like the main rat box burn and sided into Rescue Cat. So if you weren't sure, I could see how you might have done that.
yeah, I just wasn't completely sure, and I didn't want to risk it in case he did, because you know how that goes. Whenever you want to risk it that he's not playing it, that's when they are, and then you just lose in a turn. So
Did you side in Berserk Gorillas at all? Because
I
I see them in your
didn't.
side deck here.
I didn't, because well, so for me, he was playing the level limits and whatnot, and I didn't want the gorillas to die immediately.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That was my that was my theory on that. Was okay. So if he plays level limit, at least Kaiku should be bigger than over half of the guys that he's playing in his deck. So
Yeah, Gorilla seems like a worse version of your warriors.
yeah. So Gorilla was solely for the warrior mirror, period, because a lot of people main or side skill dark. So it gets over it, and my theory was I want to be able to attack directly. So because of that, I didn't play Zumbira, I played Gorilla.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I can see it.
I can see you have one of Book of Moon in your side. Is that for the Thousand Eyes Restrict decks, or?
So, okay, so my deck was originally built and based off of Sparky Flary's deck.
Yeah.
But I realized BLS is pretty dang good, so I wanted to main him. So I mained BLS and a Ashura over the third swordsman in the third book. But
Makes sense.
I was anticipating at least one chaos control / flip floppy kind of deck in the bracket, so I decided those for that because it's so strong. Even if you're going second and you don't have a board, set up, and they do, 9 times out of 10 you draw either the swordsman or a nobleman.
Yep.
So being able to have that, it's pretty strong, and then you just put back row behind it, go from there. So.
Yeah, do you know, you've hit something quite on the head, because whenever I see these decks that the main option is to have an option every single turn, so like you say, Sparky Flary's deck, if that didn't run BLS, but like BLS, while it can be dead on like turn 1, it's such a good, huge card that I can never see myself cutting it, especially if you are doing this kind of warrior deck and you look at it and you see that half of the cards are light and half the cards are dark. I think BLS is just too good to cut in any case.
Right. Yeah.
Another card.
It's such a huge like mid and end game card too. A lot of times, like even in the warrior mirror, resolving BLS in the mid or late game is just way too strong, because a lot of the times they're top decking at that point and they're top decking beaters like Blade Knight and whatnot.
Sparky didn't main it, but he definitely side decked it, and he saw it come up a lot for him.
Yeah, it was kind of like the flip flop opposite.
Yeah.
And after like watching his games, watching Sparky Flary's games, I realized Mystic Swordsman level 2. Obviously, the format's changed a bit since Worlds, but it's like one of the best monsters in the format, in my opinion.
Definitely. Yeah. So you were running Smashing Ground. Could you tell us a little about that?
Yeah, so Smashing Ground was actually my 40th card. It was a debate of Smashing Ground or a second Dust Tornado. And I just ran into a lot of times when I was playing Warrior Mirror, which, again, I expected at least half the field to be that their beaters were, in game one at least, their beaters were bigger than mine, because a lot of times they played 3 Blade Knight versus my 2. I also played Ashura, which is smaller.
And
So
they
I just-
sometimes played Skill Dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So my theory was, okay, I'll just play the Smashing for game one, worst case, side it out. So
Cool.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay, is there anyone that you or anything you want to shout out? I don't know if you've got like a YouTube channel or anything like that.
No YouTube channel. I used to play a lot back in the day. I played in 05 and 06 and actually Shonen Jump Durham. I went to and I actually built the Stein burn deck back then for my buddy Zach Austin, and he ended up going undefeated there, and the format really flip-flopped after that. So shout out to him because he was helping me play test a lot.
Awesome.
Also shout out also to Tenply. He helped me with a lot of theorying and whatnot. So shout out to him. But yeah, no, I had a lot of fun. These were like the first series tournaments I've been in since I played like back. The last I played was like 08. So.
Well, I'm glad you said that
Yeah.
Academy League is serious, because it is.
Hey.
I think it's quite difficult.
You gotta win 3 tournaments to get here. So
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. When you first joined the Mobius, I'm not gonna lie, I thought you were an alt account, but like as you've been more and more active, and obviously we've got you on voice and everything. I'm really glad to have picked you up in the community for certain. Very, very talented player.
Appreciate it.
yeah, hope you can make it back to Obelisk. Hope you can maybe play more GFCs. Get in the 3v3.
Yeah, so
Get that invite.
funny story. So when I first joined the server, I thought that top 16, excuse me, if you top 16 back in the day, you got an automatic invite. So I was just kind of like lurking the forums, and then I realized it was top 8 because I actually got 16th at Columbus
Oh.
back in 2005, 16th place. I lost to Alvarado round 2 or 3. And then I beat Emon in round 8, Gahenian, or Ghanaian, however you pronounce it. And then I lost to the guy who eventually got second, then the following round, the second to last round. Then I won the last round. So I actually ended up placing 16th, but I was the only person to beat Emon in 2 days. He went undefeated outside of losing to me. So that was probably my best accomplishment. But
Well, we'll edit this part out later so Yada doesn't hear that.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah.
Well,
who's Yada?
His
not aware.
Demon's roommate.
Oh, it's Emon's roommate. Gotcha. Yeah, it's on kperovic.com. I think all the tournament stuff's still up there. But yeah, edit that out too.
We'll edit all this out.
well, like I said, I am certain that you will qualify for Worlds eventually, one way or another. Having said that, the last GFC got 130 players, but like there wasn't anyone in Worlds last year who I thought, I didn't recognize, at least, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
everyone, and you're a name that comes round often enough for me to say, yeah, you'll probably be in Worlds, because that's the other thing as well. I knew everyone who played in Worlds, but there was only a few people who I knew who are frequent names that weren't in Worlds. So if you've got like the dedication to it, I think it's not a guarantee, but like you'll probably get there, 100%.
Hey, I mean,
yeah, that's the
there's
goal.
going to be a lot more chances to earn a spot. Academy League's one of the best ones, I think. So keep if any grinders out there are listening, want to grind Academy League, go for it.
It's like
Yeah.
AJTBLS, right? That man loves Yu-Gi-Oh. Like
Yeah.
I've not seen anyone who loves playing it so frequently and so often. He is a shoo-in for Worlds, 100%.
Yeah, he's a very good player. Very good player.
And like, yeah, I don't think it's not easy to win an Academy League, but like you said, you get infinite chances. You get infinite, attempts, and well, that's the same thing. But you know what I mean. You can keep grinding away at it. So keep at it. You'll get there. But
Do
anyway,
the work.
thanks for playing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Thanks
Congrats
guys,
again.
for having me on here.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Well, see you on Slifer.
Yeah.
Back to
Back
a
at the
Slifer
bottom.
Rio.
See you later.
All right, guys. Yeah, I appreciate it.
No problem.
Thanks again.
All right,
Later.
I'm gonna bring KL in now. So, KL, without any warning whatsoever, I just dropped him into the chat. Are you here? First of all,
Oops.
Well, they're green, but I can't hear them.
yeah, it's okay. I'll figure it out. KL. He did say, I think he did mention to me that he's got potentially mic problems, so we might not get a KL interview.
Rats.
Yeah, but what you gonna do?
The mystery remains behind the guy who always beats me with burn on ladder.
Well, regardless, we'll wait for KL to come on, but let's go and have a quick look at his deck.
So I've
Actually,
got it up. I
sorry.
sent it to you, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Sorry, before we do you want to actually have a look at some of the some of the other decks of this obelisk? Specifically, I wanted to talk about Poi. Is it Poi's deck? P-U-Y.
Her deck, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so-
I like Poi.
Yeah, that
I want
really good person.
I want that deck to work so badly.
Yeah, I've got it up on stream here. Yeah. It went 0-2, I think. So not the best showing, but it was a very bold choice. I want to say to come in on with Mega Rock Dragon and Guardian Sphinx.
It's a little weird that they only played the one Dimension Fusion. I would think they would want to play more, even just with Mega Rock Dragon. I do like, obviously a big fan of Fusilier, the dual mode beast. I think that card is just great. It has so much utility in the format to me. And yeah, I want to just see more rock stuff though. Like being able to reasoning like your whole deck out for like a bunch of these rocks that can't be summoned, and then you can like make a big Mega Rock Dragon, bring them all back. It seems pretty sick to me.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I'm gonna quickly just drop KL into the chat again, see if his sound's back on. Go ahead, KL. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I don't know if the sound is good.
Yeah.
No, it sounds great.
You sound good, yeah.
Okay, let's go
You
on.
can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
We can hear you. You're good. Congratulations. You're going to
Okay.
Worlds. How
Thank
do you
you.
feel?
It's so cool to finally like meet you, to hear your voice. We've been playing against each other so many times.
Yeah, I agree. And also, we share the same first name. My name is Lucas too, so
Oh,
There's too
Oh,
many
cool.
Lucases in the chat. We all gotta leave.
yes.
yeah. I never wanted to say anything before, but my name is also. Is it what?
It's like a club. It's like a club, kind of a club. I mean, three people with the same name.
How many Lucases are there now? Like we were saying this the other day, weren't we, Mascus? Like there's so many Lucases.
There's so many damn Lucases.
Yeah, I hate them. Yeah.
The worst. But anyway, did you fear anyone going into this KO? I mean, everyone was pretty sure you were just gonna win, and you have. So you've just kind of taken names. I don't even think you dropped a
I
match.
feared
Did you?
everyone. I mean, I feared everyone. You know, I didn't underestimate anybody. You know, every person is a threat. You know, every person is a threat. It's I think it's all done to have the right cards at the good times, the luck with you, and so on. I thought I would be even be a bit jinxed, because everybody was like rooting for me, but I was so unsure of myself because you can never know what can happen in any game.
Yeah, definitely. Everyone in this bracket are strong players and not something you want to jinx, even though everyone else is saying that you should be able to win. That doesn't mean it's very easy and definitely not likely to be the case, but you did pull through. Very
Yeah,
well
I
done.
mean, you should be sure of yourself now because you did it.
Yeah. I have a bit trouble of really I don't really realize it. But I'm happy.
And you've been repping this burn deck, I'm pretty sure, for like quite some time now. So great to like finally get to the win with it, right?
Yeah. I just kept it from the first match of Cypher. From the beginning in Cypher, I use it. I use the exact same list from Cypher to Obelisk.
Is this
That's impressive.
this is your first academy run, isn't it not? And you haven't dropped a match, I don't think. Is this correct?
Second. The first one, it was back, some weeks, maybe 1 month back. I was using a warrior deck. A warrior deck with like warrior returning alive, a toolbox of a lot of different warrior, but I lost pretty early, so I decided to change totally from another type of deck.
Well, it definitely seemed to have worked out for you, changing decks. But you didn't drop a match.
Yeah, Gary. I think I wanted to play something able to pull a comeback if I took a Trinity opening, because all of the classical deck like Chaos, Warrior, God Control, who go second, if you took some Trinity, Dust Shoot, it come back.
I think we lost you for a second there. Are you still there?
Yeah. I'm here. I saw red on green back just after.
We can hear you now. I think it was
yeah,
just
can you hear me?
Yeah, it was just a temporary glitch, I think. But
Okay.
I wanted to ask about the final match here. You sided in Kaiko's. What did you take out, and why were you siding the Kaiko's in? I'm just curious.
Against who? Against Civeta or against Mobius?
Against
Mobius.
Against Mobius. I took out basically almost all of the burn trap. Almost.
Yeah.
The three Ojama trio, the three barrel, the three secret barrel, 9, 2 crossout, the two noblemen, so that's 11. Probably forget one. I think the last one was probably one panda. Probably.
Yeah.
I was hesitant between one panda or one Desquala, but I think it was one panda.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Just slide into like a more beatdown play and try to see if you could out beatdown them.
Yeah.
I have a question.
I had some things 20 monsters post side.
Cool.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, KL, obviously you've won an Academy League tournament now. Will you play another one now that you've gotten Worlds from it?
I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I don't know.
That's fine. You
I'm
can
like
just not know.
pretty. What?
It's just a market research question, you know, figuring out.
Yeah, no pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. I didn't mean to suggest that you had to
Yeah,
play
yeah,
again.
okay.
Yeah, but yeah. Anyone else? If that's it, then
So I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I'm pretty busy with studying now, so
yeah, that's fine. Is there anyone who you want to?
goes back to that.
Is there anyone you want to shout out, or do you perhaps want to talk about your history?
Yeah, yeah.
Go ahead.
I mean, Dean, it's Dean 69, I believe, is on Discord. He's the one who told me about the whole Academy League. You know, he's the one who told me about the whole thing. So I wouldn't be here without him, clearly. So he's definitely the first person I should give a shout out.
Wow, that's good of him. That's interesting to know, because I
Yeah.
think the way people find out isn't really through like advertisements. It's all really done through word of mouth. I think. Well,
Definitely.
yeah, you can't know this for certain. You'd have to do some market
I-
research, but. Do you have a history of the game, KL? Like, do you play in 05?
It's yes, yes. I played a bit in 2005. I was a kid, 11 years old.
Did you get any
Red,
like?
green. Yeah, I was saying, yeah, I was playing a bit, but I was a kid. I wasn't very good, you know. I wasn't very good. I was a kid. Uh, I was what I was playing back the time. Monarch, I believe. Red, red, green, green. Okay, good. Sometimes Monarch, sometimes some. We were used to call the deck a big 40, a big 40. Sorry, big 40. It's something like you take 40 classical used cards, you just put them together and you play with it. But I wasn't into a big tourney or anything like that. I started to play into big tourney in 2007 from 2000 to 2010, and then I stopped until 2 years back when I found about good format on these old websites.
Yeah, I think
Cool.
that's a lot for everyone.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, thanks for playing, KL. Congratulations on winning. Everyone says you're a really nice guy. I don't personally know you that well, but you seem like a top bloke. So congratulations, glad you're in
Thanks.
Worlds. We'll see you there.
Thank you a lot. I don't know what to say, but thank you.
Yeah, no
Thank
problem.
you.
See you later.
Have a good one.
See you later.
Okay. Well, if that's it then, anyone got anything else to say before I wrap up the stream?
I thought it was cool that the players, they mentioned AJT BLS, right?
Yeah.
I thought Mobius mentioned him. And Mobius also mentioned Sparky Flurry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there was someone else who was mentioned. Who was that? Anyway,
ACP, Chris Perovic, they came up.
yeah, sure. Template as well.
Template, yeah.
These are all also people who sent me replays for my YouTube. So it's pretty cool to see that people take inspiration and they get help from them. And those are also people who I have contact with. And it really goes to show that just being a part of this community, you get to meet so many new people and make new friends. And it's really just people helping out each other that makes this such a great experience for everyone.
All for the love of the game. We love Go format, we love Yu-Gi-Oh, and just want to help it grow, help everybody get better.
Yeah, and I think we're doing a pretty good job, to be honest. Everyone's seeming to want to interact.
Not to toot our own horns a bit, but yeah, I think we're doing pretty good.
Yeah, like, well, I don't know what more we can do, really. Like,
I mean, the international diversity with Goat format right now is absolutely astonishing. Not only in our player base, but also here in our commentary as well. I mean, we have like parts spanning around the world here in our commentary booth, and not to mention like in our player base as well. So it's really nice to see that this is taking off almost on like a world stage.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point that it isn't brought up often enough, I don't think. But we literally have people from all over. It makes it a pain for us to meet up in real life one day, but but at the same time, I am very happy to have met or people even just online. Perhaps when the pandemic has died down, and this is actually very much in discussion right now, there's rumblings of Go format being taken in real life, and Worlds might be in real life events as well. It's looking more and more likely the more we get, the more people we get, and we are increasing in numbers. So this is all good stuff.
I mean, that's the dream, is to host a Go Format Championship or even the Worlds in real life, and that would be a lot of fun to do. I know I would be there, helping out as much as I can. But yeah, hopefully, I'm optimistic that it will happen one day. If it's this year, that would be amazing.
For certain. So with that, I think is a good note to end off. I just want to quickly plug goformat.com, YouTube's, Twitch, and most importantly, to me at least, the Discord is pretty awesome. This is where all the magic happens and where all the people make friends, like Lucas was saying. It's the best place to go. But also on Jinzo and Tonic's Discord server. He couldn't be here today, but this is where all the Slifers start off. And similarly, interactions happen between all the players. And it's all a very healthy and competitive environment. And also, of course, Jinzo and Tonic has the YouTube channel as well. Any last words before I sign off?
Viking goats on YouTube.